what we're seeing now in Minneapolis, they are strictly principled anti-fascists.
No organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad, and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I can't tell you how many times in the past couple of months, somebody I know has told me a story.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panicked porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
Somebody I know has told me a story about how they got it, and it all goes back every single time to some informal gathering where nobody wore masks, nobody kept their distance, and the virus spread.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world. But it's the only world they know.
I mean, it's pretty common at this point that that's where a big piece of this is coming from.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation. If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals. And
Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl.
When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately.
The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes, we're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second, control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You know, we are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account. And it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week.
We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation.
We're trying to have media, big tech, control our lives. They want to cancel our speech. They want to cancel our culture, our history, our liberty. They want to control us, the few controlling the many, like a bunch of sheep.
I'm a sheep. A hairless sheep.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. I just mentioned to Grace on the crossover, the first of what will no doubt be hundreds, perhaps thousands of unexpectedly headlines that were so prevalent during the Obama years, whenever the economy cratered or crashed. The retail sales were down unexpectedly because Easter came late this year, because Easter came early this year, etc., etc. So the first one we've seen, here it is. Retail sales unexpectedly crashed in December. U.S. retail sales declined sharply in December as holiday shoppers stayed away amidst surging coronavirus infections. Not deaths, you understand, just surging infections. That means you
Boy,
tested.
all they needed to put in that lead was a grim milestone. You'd have a trifecta of phrases.
Right. And the aftermath of Joe Biden's presidential victory. I thought Joe Biden's presidential victory was a great triumph for the Constitution and the American people and all this. And you're telling me that people are scared by Joe Biden's victory, so they stop spending money? Excluding car and gasoline sales, retail sales fell 2.1% in the final month of 2020. Data from the Commerce Department showed Friday. So there it is. So again, we'll be keeping you informed about the unexpected declines. 844-500-4242. We got a lot of stuff to get to here today, but I think maybe we'll start off with this this guy John Sullivan. We told you about it late last night, and this is the guy who said he was a documentarian. And his name seemed familiar, and then it turns out that he was arrested in Utah last summer for allegedly organizing a riot in which one person was shot at a traffic light. I think they just fired into a car some of the random Antifa Black Lives Matter protesters. So he was arrested for that protest, and I don't know if he's out on bail or he beat the rap, whatever. But he was in D.C. He flew to D.C. and he dressed up as a Trump supporter, and he was portrayed after the riot on January 6th as some kind of disinterested observer, a journalist, a citizen journalist. And he went on that night with Anderson Cooper on CNN. And Anderson Cooper, they did not, we do, to the best of our knowledge, go out for dinner afterwards or even before the show at Olive Garden. But he also brought with him, and this guy Sullivan was hanging out in the Capitol with this reporter who's somewhat affiliated with CNN and also NPR, National Panhandler Radio, and NBC. And so they kind of broke in, and they had this video of them all excited going, "We did it! We did it!" And Anderson Cooper is treating him like he's a war correspondent just back, and he's on the level rather than being a saboteur. Anyway, Sullivan was arrested last night by the feds, charged with civil disorder, and he's a total leftist. A civil disorder, entering a restricted building, and violent entry or disorderly conduct. But Anderson Cooper has the deepest respect for his fellow scribe. Let's play a cut here. Let's see. Let's play cut 16.
Two people who were there join us now, documentary filmmaker Jade Sacker and left-wing activist John Sullivan. John, you filmed this moment on your phone. Can you describe what happened?
Yeah, so
basically all the protesters kind of stormed to get into the chamber. We tried to get into like the main entrance right when you walk down the hallway.
So this is, again, this is CNN. This is CNN.
This is CNN.
Promoting this guy who's going to be arrested. You know, Anderson Cooper is lucky, or maybe unlucky, that the feds didn't come in and lug this guy right off the set. They were getting ready to arrest him, and he's interviewing him as though he's Walter Lippmann or Walter Cronkite. And here's the irony. Here's the irony. AOC is talking about how we need a ministry of truth in the United States. Basically, is what she's saying. That's from 1984, George Orwell's great classic novel. But this is AOC, and she doesn't realize it, but she's talking about CNN. Cut one.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false.
I'm a journalist. I'm working on a documentary. That's why I was there. So here's his phone video of him breaking into the Capitol. Cut 19.
I was trying to tell you. I couldn't say much.
You were right.
You just have to watch my chat. Is this not going to be the best film you've ever made in your life? Hell yeah.
Oh yeah?
Hell yeah.
Wait, you were recording, right?
I'll delete that. But I didn't record you or me. It's just voices.
They're ecstatic. Why aren't they looking for her too? She was with him all the way. She was if he's charged with civil disorder and entering a restricted building without and violent entry and disorderly conduct, why isn't she charged as well? Does she have CNN privilege, or is it NPR privilege, or is it NBC News privilege that she gets to take part in that? And he was right there when Ashley Babbitt was shot. Ashley Babbitt. When is it going to be demonstrated? Say her name. I said this last week. Breonna Taylor, the demonstrations, the woman who was killed in Louisville, used to be riding around, was stopped by the Metro cops with a body in her car. Now she's a martyr. Say her name. Well, Ashley Babbitt, say her name. Now you read these stories about her background. The 35-year-old naval veteran who was shot by a Capitol cop when she was involved in the illegal entry, and she had a struggling career in the Air Force. She was not doing very well. She was in a throuple or a thruple, whatever you call it. That's
a thruple.
Thruple.
Rhymes with couple.
That's the new story today. A thruple. And she's got some husband who looks like her husband. There's a picture in the New York Post of her husband who looks like a mountain man, and the third in the thruple, who's a blonde, who's taller than her. Anyway, so they're not going to say her name. They're already trying to forget who she is. Anyway, so this is the big thing today. There's a lot of other stuff to get to here today. The Jack Dorsey sound cuts are pretty chilling, actually. From Project Veritas, he had one of these meetings where he was discussing who he plans to shut down next, and he's very, the left is always quoting Joseph Goebbels. I mean, this is a speech or this is a talk, a Zoom conference call that Joseph Goebbels could have made if he were living in this era. I mean, this is what they were all about, promoting just a one-party media, the big lie. And he says, he wants to protect the integrity. You'll hear him say it himself. He wants to protect the integrity of conversation. Integrity. Do you need Jack Dorsey's help to protect the integrity of your conversation? Do you think anybody does? I don't think so. 844-500-4242. We're all looking for ways to save money, right? Especially now. So let me ask you this. How'd you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on car and home insurance. That's why when I was shopping for insurance, I used Gabby. This is the time of year we go shopping for insurance. Well, Gabby takes the pain out of shopping for insurance by giving you an apples-to-apples comparison of your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers like Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers, among many others. Just link your current insurance account, and in just minutes, you'll be able to see the quotes for the exact same coverage you currently have. It's fast to use Gabby. It's easy. I was with my old insurance company for more than 20 years. And the longer you've been with an insurance company for either home or car insurance, the more likely it is you're paying too much because you haven't taken advantage of any kind of discounts or new programs. So that's what made me realize by going to Gabby how much more I was paying than I should have been. You log in with your current insurance provider, and I think I was shown over 20 different quotes, and the amount Gabby saved me was over $500. As I mentioned earlier, Gabby customers on average save $961. Maybe I wasn't that bad off, but you will probably save hundreds of dollars. I'll bet that would be nice to have in your pocket every year. If they can't find you savings like they did for me, they'll let you know so you can relax knowing that you have the best rate out there. And they'll never sell your info, so no annoying spam or robocalls. You're probably overpaying on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you. It's totally free to check and there's no obligation. Go to Gabby.com/Howie. That's GABI.com/Howie. GABI, Gabby.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're tuned into the Howie Carr Radio Network.
Hey, Howie, can you just tell me what your poll script says?
What my poll?
Your poll question script. What does it say?
Hold on. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Gen 30 heater.
Perfect. Thank you.
Is that it? Okay.
Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists, credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white,
aging, angry white guys, angry white men,
angry white old men,
these angry white men,
the angry white vote,
all these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base. It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer Rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back,
to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
Mother of mercy. Is this the end of Raycon?
Howie Carr is back.
This guy, John Sullivan, has been arrested by the feds and charged with being a rioter. He's a leftist agent provocateur. He was charged in Utah last summer after that riot with 20 counts of criminal mischief. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Gen 30 heater. There it is right there on the social media. Isn't it beautiful? Get ready for a big increase in energy costs. The Gen 30 heater could save you up to 50% on your heating bills. Order today at EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal to get $25 off and free shipping. $25 off and get free shipping with code HowieDeal. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Are you actively seeking a replacement for Amazon?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Today I needed some new ink cartridges. I'm going to switch out computers because the other one I have is just too finicky. It works, but I have to change the cartridges too much. So I got another printer. I switched it in, and I needed cartridges for it. And I said, I'm not going to buy on Amazon. So I went to Staples, and I got it for the same price, and it's going to come Tuesday, just like Amazon would have had it. So yeah, I'm trying. I'm weaning myself. It's going to take a while. Yes.
Yeah, I imagine you have to find a few services to fill the whole of Amazon.
Right.
All right. 65% say they are seeking other services.
Yeah. You know, someone said that there's supposedly this, campaign that everybody's going to cut off Amazon on March 15th. But, I don't know if that's true or not, but why wait? If you can just stop patronizing them now and find as good a replacement service or product, why not do it immediately? Speaking of Gabby Insurance, 508 said, my house insurance was $2,300. My new policy is $1,630. I saved $670. Yeah, it really does work. It really does work. Again, the longer you've had the insurance, the more you probably need to go in there and check out what the alternatives are, whether it's Amazon or your current house or car insurance. All right. So listen, this is Jack Dorsey, the Rasputin-looking boss of Twitter, who crushed Donald Trump. What kind of person? I mean, Donald Trump had, 88 million followers? 88 million followers. And Dorsey is so committed to left-wing ideology and the deep state that he was willing to throw away his number one guy, President Donald J. Trump, just to do the service of the deep state. Just like they wouldn't let anyone tweet out about the Hunter Biden laptop story out of the New York Post last fall. Just like they wouldn't let me post a story a couple of days ago about Nancy Pelosi's mobbed up father, who was the mayor of Baltimore and a congressman. So that's how I describe Twitter, what they're about. This is how Jack Dorsey described it the other day to his staff on a Zoom conference call. Cut 2.
The U.S. is extremely divided. Our platform is showing that every single day, and our role is to protect the integrity of that conversation and do what we can to make sure that no one is being harmed based off that. And that is the focus, and that is the color we want to provide.
Did it ever occur to him that perhaps he's harming someone whose free speech, which is guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, that he is abrogated by his totalitarian, fascist controls on freedom of speech? Did that ever occur to him? Cut 3.
So the focus is certainly on this account and how it ties to real world violence, but also we need to think much longer term around how these dynamics play out over time. I don't believe this is going away anytime soon. And the moves that we're making today around QAnon, for instance, is one such example of a much broader approach that we should be looking at and going deeper on.
QAnon. How many riots has QAnon sparked or spurred? How many police officers have been killed because of QAnon, as opposed to other groups that post whatever they want on Twitter? For instance, the handle that we mentioned a couple of days ago, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Has that been banned? That's the BLM chant. But nobody's said anything about that, have they? Jack Dorsey doesn't care about that. QAnon, Donald Trump, Sidney Powell, Linwood, Michael Flynn. Those are the ones who are really causing the trouble. Cut 4.
And then the other thing, just to close out a little bit, we are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week, the next few weeks. It's going to go on beyond the inauguration. We have to expect that. We have to be ready for that.
First, they came for Donald Trump. I said nothing. You know, it's always much bigger than that. It always just starts small, and then they just keep oppressing you more and more and more, and it's all out there. It's right there. It's in our face, our faces. 508. I've already moved away from Amazon. Bought some jogging clothes from Dick's Sporting Goods for free shipping, and it arrived in 3 days. I think I've been pretty much addicted to Amazon for a while now, because I started out with them early on, just buying the books. But I think most places that I'm going to now, checking out other sources to buy from, they all seem to have free shipping. Free shipping is more an exception, is more of a rule than an exception with the big places. I think this is going to be easier than I thought it was. 844-500-4242. Someone says Walmart is a good sub for Amazon. They're trying to be. I know that. All right, we'll be right back with Grace's News. I'm Howie Carr. You may have heard that many of the RV and camping shows have been canceled, but don't worry. Cold Springs RV is happy to announce the New England RV Show. This is Howie Carr, and if you're a camper, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire to make sure you get spring delivery. Go to newenglandrvshow.com to learn about this safe show.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals.
Are there any Cape Gunworks certificates left?
13.
13, okay.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings of Congresswoman Harris, Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
I'm the Vice President of the United States.
Love him or hate him, Joe Biden's here for the long haul, but we can't get enough of his gaffes. Here's the best of Uncle Joe's speaking before he thinks.
We choose truth over facts.
When the stock market crashed, Franklin Roosevelt got on television.
Make sure you have the record player on at night. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Okay, look, all right, look, you can frack with me later, okay?
The teachers are Raycon. I'm married to a teacher. My deceased wife is a teacher.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I can tell you, and I've known 8 presidents. 3 of the minimum. If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me. Had over 40 kids shot at Kent State on a beautiful lawn. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? I said something that was not meant the way I said. I mean, what is it that I said wrong? I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Here's a quote from George Orwell, 1984. The heresy of heresies is common sense. That's a good one, isn't it? 844-500-4242. I'm reading some headlines here. Governor Ralph Northam, the Klansman in blackface in Virginia. Here's a quote from him. Schools need to be open. Schools need to be open? Huh? What's that all about? I thought cases were surging and spiking. And then we have Chicago. Lori Lightfoot, the woman who closed the barbershops and the hair salons and then got herself a haircut because she's the national face of Chicago, as she put it. Cut number 9.
Our big story on Hour 18. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot sparking hope for restaurant and bar owners today, saying that she'd like to let them reopen for indoor dining, quote, as quickly as possible. She went on to say it's not just to help businesses survive, but to cut down on those packed private parties.
What has changed in Chicago and Virginia and elsewhere? For a year, they've been telling us that the virus would just get worse and worse and worse if you open the schools, if you open the restaurants. Now they're telling us they've got to open the schools and the restaurants.
Howie, I tweeted this out today and someone said, where does Ron DeSantis go to get his apology back? They were basically acting like he was voluntarily sacrificing people when he suggested this a few months ago.
Yeah, there was the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds. They wrote a piece in Atlantic saying that everybody in Iowa was going to be dead because she was allowing the Hawkeye state to open up. And guess what, Grace? Everybody in Iowa is still alive except for the people who were very old and very sick anyway. And where does she go to get her apology back?
Howie, it really does take a lot of courage as a leader to do something and then have a bunch of people tell you that, you know, you're going to kill everyone and everyone's going to die and this is going to be horrible. And to really stick with what you think is going to be true and not get freaked out by the media. And a lot of people did that. And I'm so glad they did, because now they're coming out and saying, oh, it looks like, you know, shutdowns didn't really help either way. So people like Kristi Noem and Ron DeSantis were right all along.
Right. I know. And, you know, I read somewhere recently, and I thought it was a great observation, that in the modern American society with, you know, the elites, you know, are a totally monolithic group ideologically. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong, as long as you're on the side of the state. Right. So you know, the fact that Northam, Lightfoot, Charlie Parker, Cuomo, Janet Mills, all these people, they were all totally wrong with what they did. And they killed thousands of people that didn't need to die in the case of Cuomo and Parker and Murphy in the nursing homes. But they will never feel the slings and arrows of outrageous media coverage, you know?
Well, Howie, I wrote about this and I said, you know, Governor Jim Justice from West Virginia, you don't really hear that story a lot, but he's had an incredible vaccine rollout. And he said it's just about getting it to the old people. That's all there is to it. And all of these governors like Baker and Andrew Cuomo, they overcomplicate everything.
Well, it's important to get it to the prisoners, Grace, so that they'll be healthy when they come back out to resume their careers in crime. And incidentally,
care community, is that what you mean? Congregate care community?
We don't call them nursing homes anymore. Again, this is like a Big Brother. We don't call them nursing homes because people remember what Charlie Parker and Andrew Cuomo did in the nursing homes. So we have to call them congregate care facilities. Now,
it's like in 1984 when instead of saying bad or terrible, they would just say ungood. They would say stop using words that are so specific. Just use the word ungood. If it's the opposite of good, it's ungood. It's not bad. It's just all about the language.
Yep. So what's the news, Grace?
Well, I have a very funny story. So remember a few days ago, I told you that Jake Tapper was making fun of Republicans who were complaining about how many Twitter followers they lost. And he said, like, oh, I would tell you how many I lost, but I'm an adult. Well, it turns out that a lot of people on the Biden transition team are not adults, because this guy, David Mack, tweeted out, Twitter just released info on how they're going to archive the Trump governor accounts, the Trump Gov accounts, and transition to the Biden ones. Doug will also get a new official Gov account of whatever. So this guy, who I guess is Joe Biden's digital director, he wrote back to this and said, absolutely, profoundly insufficient. And so the guy who had posted the original tweet said, do go
adverbs
on.
Always, or not most times, a bad choice of words when you're writing or speaking. 2 adverbs in a row is always a bad choice when you're trying to communicate.
So this guy, David Mack, he figures, all right, I got Biden's digital director on the hook on this tweet. I might as well keep this guy going. So he says, do go on. And this is what Rob Flaherty writes. They're bending themselves over backwards to break with the 2017 protocol they set on the transfer of accounts, and also breaking with other social platforms and providing the new administration a follower base. In other words, we're not going to get Trump's Twitter followers. So the responses back to this guy, he got absolutely ratioed. It's amazing. Someone wrote, wait, I thought the proper response here was they're a private company. They can do what they want. And everyone was retweeting Jay Tapper's tweet, which was, I would tell you how many followers I have lost, but I have no idea how many because I'm an adult. But apparently Biden's team is not comprised of adults because they're really mad that. And then other people were saying, oh, so we're supposed to believe that this guy had 80 million people vote for him, but he's he's all upset because he's not getting Trump's Twitter followers. Like he can't build his own base of followers.
Well, he also got 80 million votes, but whenever he did one of those live basement halls, I'm not calling them town halls, basement halls, he would have a couple of thousand people on there, right?
Yeah.
Most popular candidate in American history, and he has 4,000 people watching.
I was saying this the other day, Howie. We used to have to watch some of his virtual stuff, whether it was in his basement or, if it was outside, like 10 feet away from the reporter, and they would be on YouTube. And I used to feel so uncomfortable because I'd look down at the follower count and it's like you feel like you're one of 5 people watching it. You know what I mean? You're like, why am I the only person in this chat right now?
Hey, is there a problem with my sound here on the YouTube? So we're getting like deluge with texts saying they can hear Grace, but they can't hear me.
Oh, okay. Well, Howie, they're working on it right now, but I'll tell you something else, Howie, while we wait for that to be fixed. AOC is demanding Biden follow through on stimulus. So this morning, Howie, I was looking for responses because I don't know, even sometimes, even though I'm a Trump supporter and people on Twitter usually, for the most part, hate Trump, there were funny tweets. Like Trump brought out a lot of comedy with people on Twitter. And I was hoping there'd be some about Biden because he gave a speech last night. All of the tweets were slobbering. Oh, this is what it feels like to have a true leader. The feeling you're feeling right now, that's called comfort. And they were just pathetic tweets. But then I thought it was funny because I'm looking at the mainstream media today and they're all, saying he's saving the world. This is the best plan they've ever seen. And I was like, oh, this is going to be the longest 4 years of my life. And then it comes out that AOC is criticizing the stimulus because she said, you guys said 2,000. That doesn't mean 1,400. And I thought to myself, what does it say about the state of our media that the only person who is critical of Joe Biden, it's not like Jake Tapper or Chuck Todd or Brian Stelter. It's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Well, how about the fact that they're saying he's above the fray? You know what that means, Grace. He can't be bothered responding to these little things like the fact that his son said that he had to kick back 50% of all of his ill-gotten gains to the big guy. Because Joe is above the
fray. These people, Howie, and I have to think, I've been kind of thinking this over for the last couple of days, but Jack Dorsey taking Trump off Twitter has to be one of the stupidest business moves I've ever heard of because there were so many people.
But again, he doesn't care. It's like Jack Dorsey thinks of himself as running a sort of a digital registry of motor vehicles. He doesn't think there's any competition, and it doesn't matter. And the goal of the registry of motor vehicles is not to provide services to the drivers of Massachusetts or any other government agency in any state. It's to provide jobs for the party faithful, right?
Right.
I mean, and so Jack Dorsey is not working for the stakeholders. The stakeholders are the state.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right. It's just so funny to me because so many people like my dad's age, they got on Twitter just to kind of see what it was all about because you turn on the news and they're not talking about what Trump said at a press conference. A lot of times they're talking about what he tweeted, at 3:30 in the morning. So now that he's not there anymore, it's really going to be strange to see what Joe Scarborough talks about every day. It's going to be hard for him to compare Trump to Hitler every single day when Trump isn't, on the front page anymore.
And that's the thing. I think the Democrats, or the sane ones, the few that are starting to have second thoughts about this impeachment trial because all you got to do is go to the Constitution and read that impeachment and the trial in the Senate is a vehicle to remove. That's the word they use. It's a very basic word, right? Remove. Everybody knows what remove means. You remove someone. Well, how can you remove someone who's not there, Grace?
No, I agree. But Howie, did you happen to see that or hear that sound from yesterday of Joe and Mika? Because he brought up that exact point on Morning Joe. And he said, I'm almost thinking that we might want to just skip this impeachment because, we can get to work and kind of start enforcing the agenda or whatever. I don't know. Exactly
right. We can start stripping the deplorables of their constitutional rights.
So I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said, maybe we skip the impeachment. And Mika, in true snowflake fashion, was like, you can't even ask that question. Don't ask that question ever again. And he said, I can't ask the question? Like, It was like Joe was starting to understand what he was dealing with at the Ministry of Truth. It's like, yeah, Joe, they're coming for you too.
Yeah.
Your own wife is silencing you. You're banned from asking questions on your own show.
Yeah, what they think is that the reign of terror that they're planning imposing on everybody who works for a living is going to be a one-way street. But if they think the reign of terror is a one-way street, they ought to Google a guy named Maximilian Robespierre and see how he ended up. The author of the Reign of Terror. I gotta write that column and post it on the website, Grace. I got all that stuff. I'll have time this weekend to do that.
Howie always uses Robespierre because he says revolutions eat their own. I always use the alligator, which is you can feed the alligator and he might not eat you first, but he's going to eat you eventually. So everyone who's feeding this beast and saying, oh, no, it's okay. And all these people on Twitter, all these people who it makes me depressed how dense people are getting because everyone's like, oh, I'm so glad Trump's gone. They can't see 5 feet ahead of them. Like you realize that this is a bad precedent to set for everybody else. There is a world after Trump.
You know, remember in Weimar, Germany, the brown shirts were the enforcers for the Nazis till they took over. And once the Nazis took over, guess what happened? What? The brown shirts got what they'd been giving to the communists and the Christian socialists and everybody else in the streets of Berlin and Munich in the Weimar Republic. They were eliminated.
I want to tell you one more thing I think you'll appreciate. So I had John Hinderaker on my show earlier, and we were talking about the journalists and the media, and we didn't talk about crowbar versus pro-bar, but that was just the latest example of, stupidity. But he was talking about how Congressman Louis Gohmert, quoted Nancy Pelosi. And I love this part of his column, and you guys can find it at Parallel.
No, I've got it printed out, Grace. Go ahead, read it, though.
He said, whatever you think of Twitter, it does have one virtue. It has exposed the carelessness and low intelligence of American journalists. And I just thought to myself, that is so true. If Twitter has given us one thing, it's we can see how bad the media is.
One last thing. They were these people that were watching Gohmert quote Nancy Pelosi said, did you hear what he just said, that he's surprised there aren't more rebellions? He should be immediately expelled from Congress for saying that. And nobody has come back and said, you know what? I didn't know Nancy Pelosi said that, but Nancy Pelosi should be expelled from Congress for saying that. You should only be expelled from Congress if you're a Republican like Louis Gohmert.
No, right. They pivoted right to Nancy Pelosi wore the same dress she wore at the first impeachment. She is such a boss.
She's above the fray.
Yeah, she's above the fray. All right.
All right,
thanks,
Grace.
Howie. I'll be back with Police Blotter Facts in a little bit.
All right. With Joe Biden as our new president, your home heating bills are about to start skyrocketing. But Eden Pure has a heater that will save you up to 50% on your heating bills. The Eden Pure, here it is right here if you're watching it on social media. The Eden Pure Gen 30 Classic Infrared Heater uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and save money on your heating bills every month. It may be a little bit warmer than it usually is in January in New England right now, but that's not going to last. And neither is the Trump economy. The Gen 30 heater doesn't dry out the air in the room. This helps prevent dry skin. And if you have pets or young kids around, you don't need to worry about the heater tipping over and catching fire. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip-over shut-off feature. With real wood surrounding the heater, it will look beautiful in your room, too. Don't be caught with huge heating bills in the new Biden era.
Even though it is warmer, as you said, Howie, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It takes a lot of energy to fire up your furnace for whatever reason, even if it's just for a few minutes. Just firing up the Eden Pure heater takes a few seconds, and it keeps your room warm for as long as you want it to.
I'm in Florida, and when I sit down on the couch to read at night after I have dinner, I put it on anyway just to keep me warm. I like being warm and toasty. Eden Pure is extending their New Year's sale, so go to EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal. You'll receive an extra $25 off their lowest sale price and free shipping with code word HowieDeal. This is a great deal, so order now at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure, never be cold again. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by J.T. Kelly, real estate broker at Keller Williams, who helped my daughter find a house. You could open up the lines for a little bit. It's already on fire. Contact him at
1-800-364-9200. Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no...
So what was going on with the problem there, Taylor?
I should have said, to paraphrase.
Oh, it was just one button on the board that had to be pushed in, that's all.
Okay.
You were still on the air. It wasn't a big deal.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty. But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Excitable? You bet I'm excitable. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs. Someone starts telling us fairy tales and we're listening.
Howie Carr is back.
Texas Johnny on the text line has a good question. Will Jack Dorsey, as part of his protection of the integrity of conversations, require everyone on Twitter to follow Joe Biden, the big guy? And what will his Twitter? His Twitter handle should be the big guy, shouldn't it? The big guy, or should it be Tara Reid? Tara Reid lies. How about that? Tara Reid lies. That's the woman who accused him of raping her. 844. And if someone says, well, it's not rape, as Joy Behar would say, but it's, you look at the legal definition in most states, it's called rape, what she accused him of. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hey, how you doing, Howie?
Good.
Hey, it's funny, Grace made a very profound comment about Trump himself, and it's probably very true that maybe with Trump gone, that a lot of the profound investment, him being a strong investment for the media and basically the entertainment world, might be just, all work and no play makes Joe a dull boy now.
I agree. Look, we cited a survey yesterday. I'm not sure I believe it, but this tech magazine said 27% of the people said they were going to cut the cords on their cable TV next year. I think a lot of people are going to check out. And you know, even the lefties, the lefties that wanted to get their daily fix, they're addicted to the Class A Trump derangement syndrome from the Washington Post, from the New York Times. They're going to drop their subscriptions. The New York Times and the Washington Post were hemorrhaging red ink before Donald Trump came down the escalator in 2015. He saved them. I don't know if he saved them long term, though. What's going to happen to him now? I don't think it's going to be good news. Bill O'Reilly's been saying this for years. Thanks for the call, John. Paul, you're next with Howie Carr. Oh, we don't have time. Okay, we'll take some more calls when we come back. 844-500-4242. I want to go over Amazon is also involved in this deplatforming campaign. They're probably involved in it more even than Twitter. And I want to go over. Media Research Center did a survey of all the hateful items you can buy on Amazon. And I mean, it's much worse than anything Donald Trump ever peddled on any of his campaign websites. I'm Howie Carr.
Hey, Howie.
Don't forget, you can pump the Cape Gunworks memberships.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Jeez. Okay, I forgot.
Met the president. Remember that bad buzz cut?
Remind
Howie?
me again, okay?
You love bringing that up,
if I don't say it.
Sure.
Her bad haircut was a true testament to the wonderful work of Dr. Highness at DiStefano Hair Restoration, because even though you looked crazy at the time, your hair grew back, and now you look as dapper as ever.
That's true. Dr. Highness did such a wonderful job on my hair. I love waking up every day not worrying about bald spots or a dreaded comb over. I now have a thick head of hair, and the best part of it is, it's my hair. Getting a DiStefano hair restoration was the best decision I ever made.
Well, besides hiring me, right, Howie?
Like I said, Grace, it was the best decision I ever made.
You heard him, guys. Go to hairman.com to get the hair you've always wanted. Get hair like Howie's. Go to DiStefano Hair Restoration. They have 5 locations in New England, and they are open for business. That's hairman.com.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all 3 chambers of Congress, all 3 chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too, and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy-to-follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Joe Biden doesn't have time for malarkey, and he also doesn't have a lot of time for geography. Take a listen.
The people of Nevada are watching, and I'm going to be out there seeing them very soon. Tonight, though, we just heard from the first 2 of 50 states. It's important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look, we need to hear from Nevada and South Carolina and Super Tuesday states and beyond.
And Biden doesn't know the difference between Iran and Iraq. He's gotten it wrong 4 times.
We tried it in Iraq. It's not working, so now we're going to try, in Iran. We tried in Ukraine.
He always gets the name wrong.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. This is sort of a scenic, beautiful town. I like Keene a lot.
How many times has he missed it? He's in Iowa. It's great to be in the great state of Ohio. And they say, Joe, you're in Iowa.
How many unsafe bridges you still have here in the state of Iowa? And I was just in Ohio because they have more.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number 1. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they did.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
We are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week.
We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation.
We're trying to have media, big tech, control our lives. They want to cancel our speech. They want to cancel our culture, our history, our liberty. They want to control us, the few controlling the many, like a bunch of sheep.
I'm a sheep. The hairless sheep.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show, or welcome back. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number if you would like to get involved in the Howie Carr Show. Jay from Chelsea says, don't worry about the leftist media. Nothing is going to change. It will still be anti-Trump 24/7. The more you overcover Trump, the less time to report / explain, prop up Biden. They're already propping him up. Unexpected decline in retail sales in December. Why would people stop spending money when Joe Biden has just been elected president? Perhaps they're worried about the future of the economy. Perhaps they're worried about the increasing cost of heating oil, fuel oil, and gasoline energy prices. Perhaps they're worried about inflation coming back to Jimmy Carter on steroid days. Could that be any of the reasons why the sales unexpectedly declined? 844-500-4242. By the way, we have a few gift cheap bastard deals. These are Grace's goodies from Grace's show. This is for Cape Gunworks in Hyannis. It usually costs $675 to sign up for a year-long membership, and going through the initiation. And if you sign up to become a member of Cape Gunworks, you get all kinds of free deals. You get discounts on ammo and on the weapons. You get the use more easy use of the ranges and the lessons. There's all kinds of reasons to get involved. But right now we have the year-long membership to Cape Gunworks in Hyannis. It's a $675 value for $250, and we only have a few of these left. But this is your opportunity if you're interested in getting a gun, getting ammo, working out on the range to improve your marksmanship. This is your chance. This is a great opportunity to save yourself $425, $250 for a $675 package, a membership in Cape Gunworks in Hyannis, the best gun range around. Go to HowieCarrshow.com and click on store, HowieCarrshow.com, click on store, and it's right there. Grace's goodies or cheap bastard deal, whatever you want to call it, but it's right there. They're going to go there. The few that are left will go fast. All right. Before we go back to the lines, we got a lot of people want to talk, but I want to just read you some of this stuff. Media Research Center did a good job on this one, Newsbusters. Amazon terminated its contract with Parler, which was the biggest alternative to Twitter. And they cited, quote, violent content on your website. And they accused Parler of, quote, potential hate speech. Rather ironic. Again, if it weren't for double standards, the deep state would have no standards whatsoever. The Media Research Center found at least 204 examples of merchandise sold on Amazon that promoted violence either towards President Donald Trump, Republicans, or members of police forces. That includes a flag with a graphic image of Trump blowing his brains out, a coffee mug with the slogan, "Where is Lee Harvey Oswald now that we really need him," being, of course, the assassin of JFK, and a black T-shirt with a red slogan, "Kill all Republicans." That shirt that urged the wearer to kill all Republicans was even a sponsored listing on Amazon. So they took money from the company that wanted to kill all Republicans to sponsor the product. So Amazon sells at least 130 different items that condone the kind of violence with cops being assaulted. That includes the hateful slogan, ACAB, all cops are bastards. Even though the Amazon terms of service states Amazon does not allow products that promote, incite, or glorify hatred, violence, racial, sexual, or religious intolerance, or promote organizations with such views. Products that promote, incite, or glorify, there's that word again, incite or glorify hate or violence towards any person or group is prohibited. The company has banned QAnon products from its website since last week. And somebody texted at me and said, QAnon is just like a dog whistle. They throw up QAnon. And this guy says, I'm on all conservative websites, and I only run into QAnon on very rare occasions. But of course, the guy with the horns, he's the QAnon shaman, even though he appears to be just a total fruitcake.
It's just a way of, separating the conspiracy theorists, putting them all in one pile and giving them a label.
Right. But if you say, you can't say that about Antifa, though, right? Because Antifa is only an idea, as Joe Biden says, or only a myth, as the Penguin, Jerry Nadler says. You can't say that about Antifa. The vendor named Florence and Partner sells a black T-shirt with a red slogan, "Kill all Republicans." Other forms of violent merchandise include a T-shirt that features the slogan, "Hospitalize your local fascist." They also sell some modern pieces of jewelry. This is available on Amazon with swastikas. How about this one? Too bad the holiday season is over. The Donald Trump knife rack, marketed as the perfect gift, features the head of Trump filled with steak knives. It's also labeled as an exceptional conversation starter. The brand Partner and Elena sells several pieces, from flags to T-shirts, featuring a gory drawing of Trump blowing his brains out. Blood and body parts are scattered across the front of the shirt. The product description says, "The only walls we build are walls of death." This is available on Amazon. You can't. They don't do business with Parler. They deplatformed Parler because they're so hate-filled.
I wouldn't ask them to take it down, though. They have a right to sell it if they want to. It's my business if I want to do business with them.
No, but I'm reading this, Taylor. I agree. They have the First Amendment right to sell this crap. But, the hypocrisy here. And again, Parler promotes hate speech, but Twitter can promote, they have hashtags with things like "Kill Trump," or they have the label, "Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon." That's okay. That's okay. They have North Korea has its own Twitter feed. The Ayatollah in Tehran. None of these warning signs have stopped Amazon from selling merchandise that features police officers depicted as pigs, burning police cars, and a Simpsons police character with a knife protruding from his head. One product available on Amazon is a refrigerator magnet featuring a dead pig's head wearing a policeman's cap. A knife was stuck through the head and blood was drawn coming out of the head. Another decal was a sketch of a cat throwing a Molotov cocktail. The bottle said, "ACAB, all cops are bastards." So this is what they do sell.
Bastards.
What?
More like all cats are bastards, right?
So this is what they're into. This is what Amazon is into. But and again, they're going to censor one type of political expression, but they're not going to censor the other type of political expression, which is in many cases, I dare say in most cases, even more offensive. 844-500-4242. Rod, quickly, Rod, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rod. We'll take more calls after the break. Go ahead, Rod.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm wondering if you could help us out. We're your listeners. We love you. I watch you on YouTube, and I want you to know that for months I've noticed that it interfered with your ability to talk to us, that the signal would go strange. Now today you say you were deluged with sound problems.
That was not YouTube though. I don't think, Rod. That was was just
operator error. Operator error.
Taylor just copped to it, Rod. So it wasn't YouTube. I mean, we got all kinds of different technological issues here from day to day. All it takes is one little tiny screw up by anybody, including myself, and the whole thing goes kaflooey. So it wasn't YouTube today. It's usually it's other things too. But I appreciate.
That's not to say though there hasn't been some suspicious things before, like when we had Lynn Wood on the show. We were knocked off the air. Our phone lines would go out, stuff like that.
There's been weird things all along the way, but there've been more weird things lately. And knock on wood, things will work out, but we'll see. We'll see. Thanks for the heads up, Rod, and keep an eye on everything. Every year, all you hear is new year, new me. That usually means you'll be picking up better habits or trying new things. And again, a lot of us are trying to exercise more and get out. And if you're at home and you're not going to work as often, just working from home or just not visiting people as much, you want to still get that exercise and keep your brain and your body going. I'm riding a bike every morning at dawn. And you know what the best thing about it is? It's a lot easier to take up these new healthy habits or hobbies if you have a way to keep your mind occupied with something pleasurable. And there's nothing more pleasurable than a pair of wireless earbuds from Raycon. It makes the experience even better. Whether it's following along to directions in the kitchen, binging an audiobook while learning to knit, or powering through a new workout with a pumped up playlist in your ear, a pair of Raycons can make any activity easier and a lot more fun.
What's the saying, Howie? Like, it takes 7 days to form a habit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just make that 7 days that much more pleasurable and easier to get through with the Raycon earbuds, and you won't mind anything about what you're doing.
Right.
After that.
And it's the first day you don't do something that you've been planning to do, it's easier not to do it the second day because you get a little depressed. But if you got those Raycons in and you're listening to music you like or a podcast you like, it makes it easier to go out and do it, even if it's a cold morning, say. Or even if it's even if you're not feeling all that great. Raycon makes great sound available to everyone. Their wireless earbuds start at half the price of other premium audio brands. And guess what? If you think having white stems dangling out of your ears looks ridiculous, that's something you don't have to worry about with Raycons. They come in a range of stylish colorways, but always with a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look and none of those dangling stems. And they don't just look great. Raycons perform wherever you take them with up to 6 hours of playtime, water and sweat-resistant construction, and Bluetooth that pairs quickly and seamlessly. Boy, does Waiting for Columbus by Little Feat sound great on my Raycon wireless earbuds. You've heard me say this all before, so if you still don't have a pair of Raycons, I've really got to wonder why. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for my listeners, and here's what you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's it. You'll get $15 off your entire Raycon order, so feel free to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off at buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone. Howie.
All sold out on the Cape Gunworks.
Oh, good.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love, and to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love, and to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Howie Carr is back.
Texter just told me that Mein Kampf is available on Amazon, and it is. I just looked it up. Paperback, $22.99. You can get it delivered by Sunday, my birthday. No, I don't need it as a birthday present. Don't worry about that. Nine. You can get it on Kindle. You can get it immediately for $10.99 from Jeff Bezos. He doesn't want Parler to be promoting hate, but he's selling a Mein Kampf. And it's doing very well, I might add. It's number 2,836 on books. They sell millions of books, and it's under 3,000 in sales. However, this item is not available for international shipping, says Amazon, mainly because you can't get it in a lot of countries, including Germany. 844-500-4242. I'm just saying there is a double standard here. You know, I don't want any kind of censorship for products or books or anything like that. But if you're going to censor QAnon, if you're going to censor Donald Trump, Michael Flynn, maybe you better think about some of the other products and services that you're peddling on your site. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Gen 30 heater. With the Biden administration coming in, get ready for a big increase in energy costs. Look at that heater. This is a beautiful heater, and it'll keep you warm. Even if it's not that cold right now, it's going to get cold again. The Gen 30 heater could save you up to 50% on your heating bills. Order today at EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal to get $25 off and free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Are you actively seeking a replacement for Amazon?
Yes, I am.
69% say yes.
Yeah. The more I learn about Amazon, the more I'm seeking a replacement, and the more I look at stories in the Washington Post. I don't want to subsidize that rag. All right, we're sold out of the Cape Gunworks deals. We have them every once in a while. You got to move fast to get them. They're gone. They're all sold now, though. So, but thanks for shopping, and check out Cape Gunworks in Hyannis. It's a great place. 844-500-4242. Miriam, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Miriam.
How do you do? How you do?
Hi.
Listen, I'm hoping that you might look at or listen to both things. The Jack, what's his name? Dorsey video that was put up by Veritas. It was on Fox News last night.
Yeah.
I think if you listen carefully, listen to it twice, you can hear that he's actually not the guy who's making the decisions. There's somebody behind him. And the woman who was talking from Parler last night, she said the same thing. She said there's a lot of collusion between the federal government and these tech companies that collect information because the FBI can use that information.
Well, isn't it weird, Miriam, that they all decided to take these steps to crack down on the deplorable Trump constituency at the exact same time?
Oh no, it's all part of a bigger plan. And don't forget when Hillary said on TV to the world, to Biden actually, but the rest of us were listening on purpose. Don't ever give up. Don't ever concede. Which usually a concession is done when somebody's way ahead. That did not happen. And I'm not even sure Biden even knew it was going on. That was in the plan. He may know it by now. But, she was giving him the message. And don't forget Michelle Obama also.
I think Pelosi said the same thing, didn't she? She said it doesn't matter how far ahead or how far behind Biden is or how far ahead Trump is on Tuesday night. Biden is going to win it. Thanks for the call, Miriam. 844-500-4242. He's there. He wants to protect the integrity of conversations. That's the most frightening thing to me that he says. Protect the integrity of conversation. If you actually believe that Orwellian speak, you'll do anything. You'll do anything. Paul, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
Listen, I was watching the news last night, and they had Biden. He had a second dose of the vaccine.
Yes.
Do we even know about the first one?
Excuse me?
Do we even know he had the first one?
Yeah, I remember he had the first one. I saw a picture of it.
Move on.
Yeah, thank you. Alan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Alan.
Thanks, Howie, for taking my call. I just want to remind everybody of Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is the canary in the mine shaft of what's coming for us conservatives in America. I mean, since COVID came out, no one's mentioned anything. LeBron James still collecting paychecks from Nike. All these sports stars haven't said anything about those poor people in Hong Kong. They're crying for democracy. I'm telling you, if Jeff Bezos and Jack Sparrow can come out and silence our president, I'm telling you. I mean, if they can do that, I'm getting nervous, Howie.
I know. I know. You can't let it dominate your thoughts, though, Alan. And I keep saying this over and over again. I think all of us are better off to spend a lot less time watching television. All of the big cable companies are just going to depress the hell out of you because they're all leaning in one direction, or most of them, the vast majority. I'm Howie Carr.
Several years ago, we here at Matthews Brothers launched the website called MatthewsBrothers.com. We did this for a couple of reasons. First, it's our name, and it seemed to make sense that we name it after ourselves. Secondly, we thought it would be a useful place to post interesting things about our wicked awesome windows and doors. Shortly after we launched it, this fella, who insists on calling himself the webmaster, told us that he could put anything we wanted to on our website. Since we were getting kind of tired of seeing his vacation photos there, we took him up on his offer. Today, there's so much fun stuff to do on our website. It's like going to a theme park, but without the lines or the mask. Do you want to know the closest dealer to you? Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere, or worse yet, New Jersey? We've got a dealer locator for that. Want to page through a colorful catalog without having to lick your fingers? We've got a flip book for that. Accidentally take the bottom sash out of the frame and there's a blizzard coming and you can't get it back in and the factory's closed? We've even got a video for that. You can learn more about our wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story. And I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat. He was a big, huge man, completely soaked in sweat and salt water.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, "See those two kids up there?" And he said, "Those are my sons." They were both spectacular football players at New Bedford High School who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
You've been hearing me talk about super beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beats? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
There's a group of about 10 people outside of work that represent the entire universe of the community that I've spent time with and my wife has spent time with since March.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power. And the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
We spent time with about 10 people, period. We have a lot of friends we have not seen for months, and we don't know when we will see them. There are lots of people we haven't seen in forever.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow-the-science world, but it's the only world they know.
Those are the rules in this game that we all need to play by.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
My wife and my circle of friends has gotten very small.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Senator Lindsey Graham, on a Friday afternoon, the last Friday afternoon of the Trump administration, releases all of his documents in the Russia collusion hoax probe. And he calls it, quote, one of the most incompetent, corrupt probes ever. Tell us something we didn't already know. I don't know. I hope I'm very disappointed in the way this whole thing has turned out with this investigation. Bill Barr, John Durham, who I had confidence in after his handling of the FBI corruption in Boston. They've let me down. Jeff Sessions before Barr, and they've gotten away with it. You know, what do you have? This one tiny scalp, Kevin Kleinsmith, a Justice Department lawyer. Just he's the only one that's been convicted of anything. 844-500-4242. Let's get the Matthews Brother logo back up on the website. Jack Dorsey knocked this. No, he didn't do it. I'm kidding. 844-500-4242. We got a lot to get to here, and supposedly the president is going to release unredacted versions of all the information, the documents he's got. It was supposed to come out, according to John Solomon, justthenews.com, either today or Monday. So it's getting pretty late in the day, especially by Beltway standards, to release it today. So I guess it'll be Monday. But do you have? I don't have a lot of confidence it'll ever be released. It's just the deep state is getting away. It got away with this. They got away with it. They're accusing us of investing in debunked conspiracy theories, and they have the biggest debunked conspiracy theory in American history tied around their necks, and they gave themselves awards for promoting this hoax. All right. Did you hear this, that the Trump administration is executing two final prisoners here, two mass murderers, and their lawyers are trying to say that you can't execute them because they've been exposed to COVID, and this would be cruel and unusual punishment to execute them when they have COVID. How is having COVID? They're in their 40s or 50s, by the way, so they're not in really great danger of dying from COVID. So you're gonna stop their executions so they can recover from COVID. Lethal injection could lead to a violation of the Eighth Amendment ban, their lawyers said, against cruel and unusual punishment due to their allegedly damaged lungs. The drug that's used in the executions, this is in Terre Haute, Indiana, I guess, that's the death house, could cause what they call flash pulmonary edema. Well, one of these guys, Corey Johnson, was put to death last night, I guess. He murdered 7 people. I've got the Justice Department press release here. In furtherance of his drug trafficking activities in Richmond, Virginia. In early 1982, Corey Johnson, who they didn't want to execute because he might have COVID-19.
Did he ask any of his victims if they had viruses before he killed them?
No, he was not wearing. I wonder if he was wearing a mask when he killed him. He went on a killing spree, shooting and killing each of his 7 victims for perceived slights or rivalry in the drug trade. Johnson shot one victim at close range after ordering him to place his head on a car steering wheel. Johnson shot and killed another victim at the victim's home when he failed to pay for crack cocaine. And Johnson also murdered the victim's sister and a male acquaintance. The jury unanimously recommended the 7 death sentences. Here's what his appeal said. He could barely read or write. He struggled with basic tasks of daily living and was, like many with intellectual disability, a follower, desperate for approval, support, and guidance. He killed 7 people. The government's arbitrary rush to execute Mr. Johnson, who was categorically ineligible for execution due to his significant impairments, rested on procedural technicalities rather than on any serious dispute that he was intellectually disabled. See what they did, the Supreme Court ruled that some years back that if you were, quote unquote, intellectually disabled, you couldn't be executed. Oh, God. So one of the judges that didn't want to execute him said, his old IQ, Judge James A. Wynn Jr., I'm guessing he's an Obama or Clinton appointee, his old IQ score is incorrect and he is intellectually disabled under current diagnostic standards. If Johnson's death sentence is carried out today, the U.S. will execute an intellectually disabled person, which is unconstitutional. So he's dead. The other guy is still hanging in there. His name is Dustin John Higgs. He's 48, and he murdered 3 young women in January 1996. This was a botched triple date. So the date broke up, and he drove them to a secluded area and ordered one of his co-conspirators to kill Tamika Black, 19, Tanji Johnson, 21, and Mishan Chen, 23. He ordered the women out of the car, gave a gun to one of his friends, and said, "Better make sure they're dead." Okay, he's still hanging in because he has COVID-19. Someone, 339, says he wasn't intellectually disabled enough not to know how to load and fire a gun. And he could apparently do the basic math, and he could remember that one of his victims owed him for the crack cocaine. And then he was smart enough to know that was his sister, of the guy who owed him the money for the crack cocaine, and her boyfriend were there, so he better kill them. So he understood the rules of evidence and hearsay. He was able to accomplish all that, but now he wasn't. He was intellectually disabled. Jason, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jason.
Howie, you already said everything I wanted to say about the Durham investigation. Barr let us down. What do we have going here? I mean, can you still do a special prosecutor? Because Durham will be fired within a week.
He probably will. I mean, he was backed by Blumenthal and Murphy when he was appointed the U.S. attorney, but obviously now he's a bad apple. He's probably going to be banned off Twitter. Yeah, Durham's going to be gone very shortly. By the way, do we have any? Did Corey Johnson's mother have anything to say before he was executed?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
How about Dustin John Higgs? Was his mother available for comment?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
I thought so. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Thanks, Howie. I noticed on Amazon's account they sell Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. They also have the Anarchist Cookbook. So I called Amazon.
That teaches you how to make bombs, right? That's what it does, right?
Yeah.
Molotov cocktails.
Exactly.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So I canceled my Amazon account, Howie. I also, a couple days ago, I canceled my City Card because City Card is involved with the censoring. We live in America and we have a right to free speech. And when I canceled my City Card, it's funny, I got someone in the Philippines. I explained to them why, but I had them transfer me back to the United States so that they would definitely know the reason why. But it's not much, but it's something that can be done. So enough people do it. It's got to get their attention, if nothing else. It's not good news for them.
No, it's not good news. And again, I switched over today. I would usually buy ink cartridges from Amazon, but today I bought them from Staples. And I mean, it's obviously not going to put Jeff Bezos in the poorhouse. It's not going to put the Washington Post out of business, but it's something you and I can do. And I don't know. Staples, I'm sure, is full of liberals too, but they haven't. As far as I know, Staples hasn't tried to shut up any conservatives the way Amazon has. Thanks for the call, John. Mark, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
Howie, isn't Staples owned by Mitt Romney? Come on now.
It was owned by Mitt Romney. He was one of the founders of it. I think Bain Capital, when he was running it, was backing it. But I don't think Mitt has much to do with it anymore. I mean, we live in a society. You can't be 100% pure, Mark, in any of these investments, can you?
No, you can't. But I called about Amazon. I canceled my $119 Prime account.
Right.
Because I can get video and TV elsewhere. I don't need the free shipping. Most of their electronics is junk. A lot of it's made in China.
Yeah.
You can believe that.
Well, the thing is, Mark, we probably should stop referring to the free shipping of Amazon because, as you just said, you have to pay $119 a year for the quote unquote free shipping, right? So it's not really free, is it?
It isn't. And I found that Walmart's pretty good.
they haven't shut Trump down yet, so I've been going to them. And Lindsey Graham, didn't he stab Trump in the back at the end there?
Yeah, I think Lindsey Graham, he doesn't rise quite to the level of a Willard Mitt Romney when it comes to backstabbing, but he's in the same general league. He didn't make all pro backstabbing, but he started all 16 games when it came to backstab. Well, not all 16, because he was really good at the Brett Kavanaugh thing. So was Susan Collins. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, as they say. But he was very disappointing. And again, it's the last Friday of the Trump administration, and he's releasing this like it's a huge bombshell. I mean, it's like the tree falling in the forest. I mean, okay, we'll hear it, but it doesn't do any good to hear it at this point. It's too late. Very depressing. I shouldn't. I hate to use the word depressing. I don't want to depress people, but it's disappointing. Let's use that word. 844-500-4242. I recently had a dental emergency last summer, actually. And where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but was reminded of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer and a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. We're in a climate right now where a lot of people don't want to go into the city for whatever reason, and we can certainly understand it. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located right off the major interstate in Nashua, New Hampshire. Parking is plentiful, parking is free, and it's close by the Perfect Smile offices. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols that Dr. Houghton and his great crew have taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. Just because you're not doing other normal human activities like maybe going to the supermarket or going to your kids' games, you can't give up your dental care or you're going to have a lot of trouble down the road. You need to get dental work done. Don't wait. To see for yourself and get your perfect smile, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles, change your smile, change your life. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by Nauset Beach Inn. Open this winter for the first time in 63 years. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate while rooms are still available. Low price available only at NausetBeachInn.com.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
You just shot an unarmed man. Well, he should have armed himself.
The Howie Carr Show.
Texters are saying, oh, Lindsey Graham did a great job on Brett Kavanaugh. Is that the same Brett Kavanaugh who refused to hear the Texas versus Pennsylvania lawsuit that could have overturned the election returns? Yes, the same one. Nobody knew at the time. Lindsey Graham, me, you. Nobody knew that he didn't have a spine. Ditto Gorsuch. Ditto Barrett, Amy Coney Barrett. 844-500-4242. 617. Lindsey Graham said he'd clean up the FISA court, too. What happened there? Nada. 781 says, I think Lindsey released the documents now before the Dems take charge of the Senate. I think DJT just declassified them this week. Well, I thought POTUS was releasing a bunch, too. I mean, when is this coming? I'd like to have some good reading material for the weekend. 844-500-4242. Sean, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Sean.
Hey, Howie.
Hi.
These guys up there are going to execute, but they don't want to execute because of COVID-19.
Yes.
What do you think the odds are that their death certificates list cause of death as being COVID-19?
I hadn't thought about that, but I wouldn't take that bet, would you, Sean? I think it's pretty clear. The people that die in motorcycle accidents, murder, suicides, drinking themselves to death, everything is COVID-19. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. Thanks for the call, Sean. Ed, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ed.
Hey, Howie, I haven't talked to you for a dog's age. I used to live in Vermont. Now I'm down here in South Carolina. And live right next to the town that Lindsey Graham is living in. So anyhow, I'm calling up for two different reasons. One of you guys just said that Walmart is good. Walmart fired a designer in New York City because she wasn't rah-rah for the BLM. Not that she was against it, not that she was for it. She just wasn't rah-rah enough. She didn't say anything positive about it.
Ed, I hate to sound like a philosopher here, but we live in an imperfect world, do we not?
Yeah, but number two is, the land deal that's going on up in Westchester County with Trump's quote unquote overvaluing the land. So
I haven't been following it closely. Let me stop you there, Ed. Because I don't know anything about that. I know that he had a golf course in I think it was in Westchester County. Remember the leftists vandalized one of the greens on his golf course, and I always wondered. I thought they were into nature and preserving green space, and they love trees, and I would think grass would be kind of like a tree, right? But they poured gasoline all over the green and set it on fire and just destroyed the entire area. That showed Donald Trump, by God. Mary Ann, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Hi, Howie. Thank you for taking my call. Mass Mutual has decided that their PAC will suspend any donations to politicians who voted against certification of the Electoral College. Sorry.
Really? I did not know that. I have a life insurance policy. I have had it since I was a baby. With a lot of companies have done that. That's another list. We should try to get a list of all the companies that are trying to crack down on people who voted against certification. They're engaging in their own kind of censorship. Some companies are just saying, okay, our PAC is not going to contribute to anybody until we take another look at the contributions. But that probably means they're going to come down on Republicans, but not Democrats, because Democrats are the deep state. Democrats are the corporate America. 844-500-4242. Jerry, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
I want to know if you might be able to tell me. I'd like to know why Trump hasn't invoked the Insurrection Act and declared limited martial law.
No, he's not going to do. He's not going to do that. Come on. 844-500-4242. That's don't believe everything you hear or see on the internet. I mean, I said earlier, you're probably better off. I know I certainly am, mental health wise, not to be watching so much TV news, cable news. But a lot of these fringe websites. I mean, I'm not telling you, they shouldn't be censored or anything, but you just got to take what they say with a grain of salt. Just ask CNN when they're interviewing leftist terrorists. With Joe Biden as our next president, your home heating bills are about to start skyrocketing. But Eden Pure will save you up to 50% on your heating bills. The Eden Pure Gen 30 Classic Infrared Heater uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and to save you money on your heating bills every month. The Gen 30 heater doesn't dry out the air in the room. This helps prevent dry skin. And if you have pets or young kids around, you don't have to worry about the heater tipping over and catching fire. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip-over shutoff feature. With real wood surrounding the heater, it will look beautiful in your room, too. Don't be caught with huge new heating bills. Eden Pure is extending their New Year's sale. So go to EdenPure.com and put in code Howie Deal. You'll receive an extra $25 off their lowest sales price and free shipping with code word Howie Deal. This is a great deal, so order now at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure, never be cold again. The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack
favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy-to-follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now. They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. Did you have tanning lotion on, Joy? A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no! What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean,
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody anytime.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaps anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion. 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
We are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week.
We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation.
We're trying to have media, big tech, control our lives. They want to cancel our speech. They want to cancel our culture, our history, our liberty. They want to control us, the few controlling the many, like a bunch of sheep.
I'm a sheep. A hairless sheep.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242-617. Just heard the NRA filed for bankruptcy today. What gives? I think they said they're going to reorganize in Texas. It's probably, they're being sued. This is another tactic is to just sue everybody because they have all this. That's how they changed the election laws. They had filed 200 lawsuits, according to Tom Fitton when we had him on last week. The left, and so I think probably Texas has more favorable laws for an organization like the National Rifle Association. I could be wrong, but that's my theory on it. I just saw that on the internet myself. 844-500-4242. You want to talk about more cancellations? Harvard's students are now demanding that degrees be revoked that were given to Republicans, including White House Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, Senator Ted Cruz, he went to the law school, and Representative Dan Crenshaw. According to the petition that's circulating on campus, the move to rescind the diplomas of Republicans is in response to the GOP spreading, quote, disinformation and mistrust. Disinformation and mistrust, okay? The petition argues that a Harvard degree is a privilege, not a right. Well, while the petition is gaining traction on the campus, Alan Dershowitz, the law school professor emeritus, said it would be illegal and highly immoral to revoke a degree based on constitutionally protected actions. I wonder what they're going to do about Memorial Hall. Memorial Hall is on the campus. It's really a nice building, and they've got the list on the walls of all the Harvard grads who were killed in the Civil War, including those who fought on the Confederate side. I shouldn't have said that. They probably didn't know that because they would. I guess I should keep my mouth shut about stuff like that, or they'll be trashing Memorial Hall, which is a very nice place. I wonder how long Republicans will be allowed to get off the red line at the Harvard Square stop. When will they be canceled? Attention, next stop, Harvard Square. All Republicans cannot depart the train until it reaches Central Square, and you're not welcome there either. You're not welcome at Park. Maybe you can get off at Broadway. Now, Southie has changed too. Maybe Republicans just aren't going to be allowed to ride the red line. Most people aren't riding the red line anymore, though, either, are they? Or the green, or the blue, or the orange line, or the commuter rail, or the buses. Time now for the chump line.
I love it when CNN eats crowbar.
Yeah. CNN, they had this guy who's now been arrested for taking part in the Capitol riots. They identified him as a documentary filmmaker and a left-wing activist, and they brought him on with a CNN, NPR, NBC News producer, and they were giddy and ecstatic after they reached the Capitol. And now the brother of the documentary filmmaker, John Sullivan, his brother, is on a Utah TV station saying that his brother John.
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
John's already been been charged in Utah with criminal mischief in an earlier riot in the summer when someone was shot. Now his brother says that he was organizing an Antifa brigade or platoon. No, it's more than a platoon because he says there's 226 people in Antifa that got into the Capitol. This is the brother saying this. I'm not spreading debunked conspiracy theories. Don't take me off YouTube. Don't take me off Twitter. Go ahead.
Lovey, considering we can impeach President Trump after he leaves office, I wonder if we can expel Gengis Khan from Deerfield. Though, considering the paltry reputation of that safety school, we'd probably be doing him a favor.
Go ahead, live shot. Make my day. Make my day. 617 says, if Harvard's doing this, would that mean taking Schiff's degree away since he spread all that Russian disinformation? That is an excellent point. That is really a good observation. How about Juliette Kayyem? She's employed by Harvard, and she said that Trump was the spiritual and operational leader of domestic terrorism. Is that really true, Juliette? Do you really belong on the campus of our most august institution? The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. And we're old enough to remember a time when social media accounts like Twitter and Facebook were available to all users and allowed open conversations. A time when you could also choose Parler or Gab as your platform. How quickly times have changed.
Hey, Howie, are you going to watch the inauguration or are you going to skip that one host dog and pony show?
I'm skipping it. How many people watched Dementia Joe's speech last night, by the way? The greatest speech of all time. Better than the Sermon on the Mount. Better than the Gettysburg Address. That was the unanimous opinion of the lapdog media.
Well, yeah, Lincoln never gave away $1,200 to everybody.
14, pal. 14.
I'm so sorry.
I want to start the Impeach Me Too movement.
Yeah. It says in the Constitution, impeachment shall be used to remove someone. How do you remove someone who's not there?
I don't know. They can remove Joe Biden, can't they? He's not there.
He's not all there. There's a big difference. You know the difference between being not there and not all there.
The Biden administration has announced Operation Woke Speed, in which the vaccine will be administered in alphabetical order of gender identity.
Somebody said today that they're going to rename Operation Warp Speed. Operation, the thing. Incidentally, the mainstream media was also going crazy last night because the FBI, which didn't act on so many tips that they've gotten, including about the Boston Marathon bombers, the Parkland shooter, et cetera, et cetera. Now they're saying they've got chatter that there's going to be problems at the inauguration. Do you trust the FBI? The Department of Homeland Security said today they have, quote, no specific credible threats. I think I'm going with the Department of Homeland Security on this one.
Hey, Howie, I know who the secretary for the U.S. Department of Truth will be. Adam Schiff.
Yeah, Adam Schiff, talk about a guy who spread more disinformation than just about anybody else in the United States of America. Forget Congress. I mean, you could put him up against anybody out of the 330 million citizens for BS, lies, misinformation, disinformation, leaking classified information, apparently. And he, if anything, he's up for an honorary degree at Harvard this year, not being banned like Ted Cruz or Dan Crenshaw or Kayleigh McEnany.
We can't impeach Biden because he's already impaired.
What did they say about that killer? What was the phrase they used? Intellectual disability. Does Joe Biden have an intellectual disability?
You can take my Twitter. You can take my Facebook. But you can't take my freedom.
Freedom. The Freedom Caucus in the House of Representatives. Go ahead.
Hi, Howie. Governor Patrick calling. Wow, I hear you're celebrating a birthday on Sunday. Considering you'll be 77 years old, the candles will cost more than the cake. We're going to be fine.
I didn't come here to be made sport of, Governor. You know, and I may be getting older, but I'm not getting shorter. Or at least I'm not getting as short as you are. Thus your name Small Deval.
Are all of Charlie Parker's friends hidden behind door number 3?
Yes, Donna White is going to open the door right after she spins the wheel of fortune. What a buffoon he is. I'm so glad Grace worked the line about the turkeys into her column on Spectator
Local
USA.
hospitals, healthcare practices, community health centers, university health centers, or visiting nurse programs. Or number 3, sort of like Donna White. Is that who's the one that does the...
Yeah, it's Donna White. Governor, you're the smartest guy in the room. Yeah, she opens
We need to have this.
Go ahead.
We need to have this impeachment trial quick before we find out what really happened.
Yes. That's what Nancy Pelosi says about any kind of legislation that she wants to. It took her 9 months to get people the $600 checks, but it took her 7 days to impeach Donald Trump again for nothing, with no real impact, except that, well, we impeached him twice, you know. We impeached him twice. Give us more money.
Howie, Charlie Baker calling. I agree with Ayanna Pressley. Folks who don't wear masks are conducting chemical warfare. Remember that guy in the military sector of Iraq named Chemical Ali? Well, because of your barefaced habits, we should call you Chemical Howie.
Listen, you know, you can say what you want, but you don't have me confronting a reporter and pointing my finger at the reporter and yelling at her with no mask on, do you? Unlike Rachel Rollins. Rachel Rollins will be the first person tried under her friend Ayanna Pressley's crackdown on maskless public. Incidentally, in Brisbane, Australia, they're having some civil unrest. You know why? People have finally started objecting to the rules that require you to wear a mask while you're driving in a car by yourself. That was the bridge too far for the down under crowd.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right. That's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service. You can call any hour between 1 and 4 every weekday and leave your message on the Chump Line. To get to the Chump Line, dial 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday, or we might play it on Chopped Chumps. That's our podcast that we post every evening around 7 o'clock. You will hear messages you didn't hear on the show this afternoon at Chop Chumps. Get Chop Chumps wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcast. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. And we're old enough to remember a time when social media accounts like Twitter and Facebook were available to all users and allowed open conversations. A time when you could also choose Parler or Gab as your platform. How quickly times have changed.
The Biden administration has announced Operation Woke Speed, in which the vaccine will be administered in alphabetical order of gender identity.
617 says Memorial Hall is safe. No Confederate dead. I thought there were Confederate dead listed for that were Harvard grads. However, I'm sure all of the names are of white males, so maybe not so safe. Yeah, you have to celebrate diversity everywhere, even when you're talking about the past where there was no diversity. You must still celebrate it. So yeah, Memorial Hall is going to have to, something's going to have to be done in our woke culture. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
The election is behind us, and what happens next is anyone's guess. Most agree, though, that taxes will be going up in the future. Is your portfolio ready? Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates want you to be sure.
If you want to come in and take advantage of that free consultation, we're going to have the 100-100 challenge. So if you have at least $100,000 in an investment account with somebody else, and you go through our processes, no obligation, you're going to be able to get a $100 bill. You could leave our office with that $100 bill, and we're going to do the comparison, and we're going to send you on your way, and then you could circle back around if you wanted to.
Call now for your no-cost, no-obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for market reviews and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today at 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying.
I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on.
That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready, the big, beautiful crescendo, and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president, and they're not. You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference, because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player, and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who were part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
He tells it like it is.
I want you to know that every human being that works for you knows what a diseased hypocrite you are. We all know what you are.
Howie Carr.
Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Gen 30 heater. There it is, right there. Those hands are holding it up. Those are McKay's hands. Look at it. It's beautiful, and it'll keep you warm, and it's got real wood paneling on it. With the Biden administration, get ready for a big increase in energy costs. Don't be fooled by the fact that the weather's been a little warmer in New England for the last couple of days. It's going to get cold again, and the price of energy is going way up. The Gen 30 heater could save you up to 50% on your heating bills. Order today at EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal to get $25 off and free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? And what are the results thus far?
Are you actively seeking a replacement for Amazon?
Yes, I am.
30% say they're not.
All right, maybe 30% were never on it to begin with, or maybe at least partially not involved in it.
I don't think everybody has an Amazon Prime account that uses Amazon, but I think most everybody uses Amazon for something or else.
Right, exactly. We told you yesterday they sold a baseball card, Mickey Mantle's first baseball card, 1952, for $5.2 million. Now a vintage issue of Batman #1 has been bought for more than $2.2 million. $2.2 million. It isn't the first comic to feature the superhero. That honor goes to Detective Comics number 27 from the previous year. But that Batman theme came, 25 years after this comic was made. So I don't get it myself. I remember I used to get all those comics when they were a dime. I'd walk down to W.T. Grant's on Congress Street in Portland, and I would buy the comic books, and I had this big wicker basket, and I would throw after I read them and reread them, I would put it in the wicker basket. And one year I came back from Florida, because I'd spend the winter in Florida with my parents, and then I'd live in the summer with my aunts and uncles. And I came back and I said, oh man, I was looking so forward to reading all those comic books that I hadn't read in 6 months. So I went up to where the wicker basket was. You know what happened, Taylor?
The dog ate it?
It was empty. No, Aunt Mabel had given them all away.
Oh my gosh.
I was so sad.
That's so sad.
It's really sad now that I find out how much they're worth. I mean, there were none from 1940 in there, but they would be worth something today if they were still around, right?
That's it. You're just bitter.
I am. And I used to get an allowance, I guess, a quarter every week, and rather than spend a dime on the bus, I would walk down to Congress Street. So I'd have an extra dime to get an extra Batman or Detective or Action or Superman comic. I'm Howie Carr. Nauset Beach Inn is open for the first time this winter. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate of only $100. All rooms have 2 queen beds, and they're pet-friendly too. Nauset Beach Inn is the only hotel on the Cape Cod National Seashore. Contact-free check-in and check-out. Don't hesitate. These rooms go fast. Reserve now at NausetBeachInn.com. That's NausetBeachInn.com. You may have heard that many of the RV and camping shows have been canceled, but don't worry. Cold Springs RV is happy to announce the New England RV Show. This is Howie Carr, and if you're a camper, I've got 2 words of advice for you. Buy early. With the popularity of camping growing and manufacturers' constraints, the earlier you shop, the better. Visit Cold Springs RV in Ware, New Hampshire to make sure you get spring delivery. Go to NewEnglandRVShow.com to learn about this safe show.
Here's 1 minute of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not
patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So, only in America does when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say no. We're not going back to that.
I know it sounds banal. Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth?
I don't.
8 weeks. So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog.
So the whole premise of the Green New Deal is that we're screwed.
You've been hearing me talk about super beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But super beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of super beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out super beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been.
Taylor, are we having other problems on the feeds?
Is the first in his family ever to go to a...
Not to my knowledge. What are you hearing?
Well, I'm just saying WCRN, someone says that they've been off the air for an hour, and somebody else says we've been down in southern Maine. I knew we were off the VOM because of the hockey game, but I didn't know there were any other problems.
No, I don't know of any other problems.
Okay.
Or the endurance, or the commitment, of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say? The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
So Virginia is going to reopen the schools. Andrew Cuomo says we simply cannot stay closed until the vaccine hits critical mass. The cost is too high. We will have nothing left open. Mayor Lori Lightfoot says Chicago restaurants and bars need to be allowed to reopen as quickly as possible. Newsweek magazine, COVID lockdowns have no clear benefit versus other voluntary measures, international study shows. And now Minnesota, as of Monday, is going to allow restaurants and bars to reopen at 50% capacity. Stephen Miller tweets out, so we're all now just going to pretend this narrative happened magically and organically. Isn't it? What's changed? What's changed that all of a sudden now everything can reopen? Except
the science. The science has changed. You have to follow the science.
Yeah. except when the states are governed by dead enders, as Donald Rumsfeld used to call the terrorists in the Mideast. Dead enders like Charlie Parker. All right, it's that time of the week. It's the third hour of the show. You know what that means. Fridays.
Whenever the laws of any state are broken, a duly authorized organization swings into action.
Police Blotter Facts Friday. All week long, we ask you to send in your funny stories or items for your local daily or weekly newspaper. It could be a standalone story. It could be from the police column. They call it. Some papers call it the police log. Others call it the police blotter. Whatever it is, a funny story involving the local constabulary, local, national, international. Send it to grace@howiecarrshow.com. grace@howiecarrshow.com, or you can still fax them to us if you want. Our fax number is 857-284-8864. And at this time, every Friday afternoon, Grace reads the funniest stories of the week, and the two best entries, in our opinion, get a nice prize. What do they get this week, Grace?
They will get a awesome t-shirt, a Buy American Support America t-shirt in honor of sticking it to Amazon.
Yes, indeed. Good.
All right, Howie, are you ready for the runners-up, sir?
Yes, I'm ready for the runners-up.
Man arrested in Utah after skateboarding naked in front of children.
It's pretty nippy this time of year in Utah, isn't it?
That headline took a turn at the end.
West Valley City, Utah. Elvis Sabanagic, who's 29.
His name is Elvis?
Elvis, yes.
Okay. Elvis, he was a flying Elvis.
Oh, yeah, he was flying. This happened at a skate park where about 30 to 40 people were present, including some children as young as 6 years old. Sabanagic arrived at the skate park fully clothed and then disrobed. That's the scary part. He had marijuana, a lighter, and tinfoil molded into the shape of a pipe in his possession.
Lighter. He wanted to give him a hunk of burning love.
Okay, Quebec couple fined after woman found walking partner on a leash after curfew.
Wait a second. After curfew, the people who turned them in should have been turned in themselves. How dare they? This is why we have care and snitch lines in all states and provinces.
Quebec's new curfew inspired some creative rule breaking this past weekend. The province's 8 p.m., Howie. That's pretty early, even for you.
No, it is. It's very early. Didn't Janet Mills in Maine say that they had to put in a curfew at, I think, 9 o'clock, saying because people tend to get careless as the night goes on. Why is that, Governor Mills?
Well, you were mad when Palm Beach had a curfew at like 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's now 1 a.m., yeah.
And that still doesn't sit well with you, even though we all know you're not out at 1 a.m.
I don't like the idea of curfews. When I was imprisoned at Deerfield Academy back in the 1960s, I didn't like the idea of a curfew. Why would I suddenly endorse them after all these years?
You're right. Police reported a slew of tickets and fines issued over the weekend, including 200 tickets alone on Saturday night for people found breaking curfew. A couple.
Do they not understand that even in Quebec, what is French for date night number 2?
I don't know. Numéro.
That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
How dare they shut down date number 2 in the province of Quebec?
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi? That's what. Doesn't that mean something?
It's some kind of song from the 70s or 80s.
A couple who determined that walking your dog is roughly equivalent to walking your adult male human partner on a leash are in trouble. So they had a rule that was, only emergency situations, only essential situations are allowed. And what is essential is walking your dog because the dog's got to go. So this woman figured, okay, I'll just put my boyfriend on a leash. And then when she was stopped, she said that she was just walking her dog. And you know how much she was fined, Howie? This is the craziest part.
How much?
Each person, including the dog, the boyfriend and the girl, each received a ticket for $1,546. The curfew.
That seems a bit excessive.
The 8 p.m. curfew is set to last until February 8th.
Because then the COVID virus is already announced it's going to leave Quebec. Where will the virus go after 8 o'clock when it leaves Quebec on February 8th? Will it go to like New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Ontario? Where will it go?
It's a really good question. Covered in blood, man in his underwear attacks Nashua police officer.
Covered in blood. Okay. What's this guy's name?
This guy's name is Sebastian Corneau.
Sebastian Corneau. Okay. Well, how did he come to be covered in blood?
Well, a 26-year-old man allegedly attacked a city police officer and sprayed him multiple times with the officer's pepper spray. Saturday morning at a Motel 6, Sebastian Corneau was outside of the motel office and covered in dry blood.
How early Saturday morning?
That's a very good question. It just says Saturday morning. It doesn't.
Was Sebastian Corneau checked into the Motel 6 with Mrs. Corneau by any chance?
It says he was possibly under the influence and dressed only in his underwear. Sebastian Corneau outside of the motel office and covered in dry blood. Authorities attempted to bring Corneau into the lobby of the motel when once inside, he allegedly attacked and assaulted a police officer, according to a news release. During the struggle, Corneau obtained the officer's OC spray, that's pepper spray, and sprayed the officer with it multiple times. At one point, Corneau took possession of the officer's baton as well. And he started
That's embarrassing. The guy is drunk at a Motel 6 in the early morning hours, or allegedly drunk. And he overpowers the cop and gets his pepper spray in his billy club.
Do we have a sound for pepper spray? I know we have one for a taser, but oh, thank you. Yeah, I knew there was something. Port St. Lucie police arrest man for drugs he tried to claim were baking ingredients.
I mean, if you want to get
I'm saying, you can
make that argument.
If you could put you could put oregano in a meatloaf and then you bake it, right? Why can't you put weed?
It wasn't weed, it was meth. Have you ever baked with meth? Jethro Genius.
No, you put that in. Wait. You take donuts and then instead of coating them with confectioner's sugar, you coat them with meth.
See, I don't want to sound naive.
Always thinking about donuts.
I know. How do you work that into every conversation? I don't want to sound naive, but is that the consistency of meth? Is it powdery?
I just assume you could crush it up. I thought it was kind of a little bit more like sugar that's been out in a damp
like rock
area.
Candy.
It's more like rocky sugar. But I'm sure you could
chewable glass shards.
It would be like the jelly donuts where they have the little pieces of sugar, where it's granulated.
207 says the guy in the skateboarder, Elvis showed his pelvis.
Oh, God.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so this guy's name is Jethro Genius.
What? You sure it wasn't Jethro Bodine?
No, it was Jethro Genius. He informed police officers Genius informed police officers that the bag was his and the two substances were sugar and a bag of cornstarch.
That's what I said. Sugar.
Yeah, you're right. And a bag of cornstarch to bake a cake. And then once they actually got him into the jail, they tested it and they tested it for meth. He was charged with trafficking. Now, Howie, I don't know how to say this. Phenethylimes.
Psilocybin. I'll bet it is.
10 grams or more. So it was a good amount of sugar.
When was the last time? When was the last time you put cornstarch in a cake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
That was the first problem with his ridiculous story.
I'm no Julia Childs, but I don't think that really adds up. Rare 7-year-old crocodile found sunbathing outside Florida home. This is Punta Gorda.
70-year-old?
Yeah.
Crocodile.
How did they know? Did he give him his driver's license or what? How do they know how old he was?
Must have been a saltwater crocodile.
So, okay, Taylor, is this, once again, I'm going to sound naive, but is this a thing where crocodiles are more rare than alligators?
In Florida, absolutely.
Yeah,
Crocodiles are more.
There are alligators everywhere in Florida, but crocodiles not so much.
An American crocodile that's believed to be around 70 years old was recently found catching some rays while lounging on a Florida woman's floating dock. A newspaper reported that the woman initially thought that the large alligator lurking in the canal behind her Punta Gorda home was an alligator. It wasn't until the reptile emerged from the water that she realized it was actually a 10 to 15 foot croc. Officers, they arrested him, the crocodile.
When you go through police academy in Florida, do they teach you how to distinguish between an alligator and a crocodile? And do they also include in that exam a caiman? A caiman is another kind of alligator.
Yeah, South American kind of alligator.
Grand Cayman Islands, Grace. That's a good place for it's a sunny place for shady people to drop money off. Stevie Flemmy used to have some bank accounts down in the Grand Cayman Islands. That's how I learned what a caiman was.
But Taylor, that's a very good point because this is not a good looking.
They're ugly.
Yeah, no, he's not a good looking,
mean looking
crocodile. But I agree with Howie. I don't know how they knew he was 7 years old. There must be a way.
7 or 70?
70.
What was his name, by the way?
Well, she named it George. The lady who
George the crocodile?
I feel as though that's her right because she found him and he was on her dock. So George the crocodile. Drunk Florida man arrested for allegedly stealing floating
That's redundant.
Bar. Howie, that's mean. Don't disrespect Florida men. You're in Florida enjoying their state. A drunk Florida man was arrested after he was caught operating a floating tiki bar that was reportedly stolen. Agents from the Coast Guard's Key West station found the man on the stolen tiki hut near Hawks Channel off the coast of the Florida Keys. "Don't drink and boat," they wrote. The man appeared intoxicated and was taken into custody by officers from Florida's Fish and Wildlife.
He was humming "Wasting Away" in Margaritaville.
But Howie, you know what the amazing thing is? So Florida's Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, they're dealing with the 7-year-old crocodile. And then probably in the same weekend or around the same month, at least, they're dealing with people on tiki floats. It's like they have too much under one branch.
You know, that guy
Can I get me a floating tiki bar here, please?
That guy is just lucky that George the crocodile didn't decide to come onto his floating tiki boat, whatever it is.
Well, Howie, you'll be happy to know
because then he could have ordered a crocktail.
Ooh, very good, Taylor. There's the picture in the New York Post of the officers, bringing the tiki hut boat back to land.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them on this tiki boat in the middle of the ocean, and you know what? They have their masks on.
God.
And Howie, our 2 winners that are coming up, they're both local stories.
Did I enter one of them, Grace?
Yes, Howie. I'm going to send you a T-shirt. You did. You entered and you won.
I only sent in one today, and I hadn't heard it in this segment, but it's a good one. All right, we'll be right back. My friends at Eden Pure are extending their New Year's sale, but you need to act while you can. You can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners with code word Howie. The Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. Supplies are limited, so this sale won't last much longer. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand like I'm doing right now and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell in your basement. No filters are needed. Dr. Matt swears by this thing. He bought one for his son because his son has what Dr. Matt, the vet, calls a stinky cat. No more problems with the stinky cat's odors now that Dr. Matt gave his son a little Thunderstorm. I've seen much more expensive comparable units in doctors' offices and have asked myself, why didn't they order the Thunderstorm? The Thunderstorm takes up no floor space and is quiet. Take advantage of this extended sale and experience for yourself what the listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors. restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms.
A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
Either I'm dead right or I'm crazy. You wouldn't care to put that to a vote, would you, Senator?
The Howie Carr Show.
All right. Time now for the winners in Police Blotter Facts Friday. Who sponsors Police Blotter Facts Friday,
Well,
Grace?
thank you, Howie. I was just going to say Police Blotter Facts Friday, as always, is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, one of the best baking companies out there. The bread is so delicious, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence since 1916. Definitely check out Piantadosi bread. They are fabulous.
And they don't use cornstarch in the bread.
No, they do not. Man learns it can be dangerous selling bags of frozen shrimp on the Red Line.
I don't know where to begin with that. For one thing, these days, where would you get a customer on the Red Line? There's not only no riders, no ads are left on the Red Line because, why would you buy an ad on the Red Line when there's nobody riding them?
Right. I was more thinking who's buying frozen shrimp, but I like how you're thinking more of he's in the wrong area. Transit police report pinching a shellfish Dorchester guy. They say tried to steal bags. Yeah, it gets worse. They do this a lot in this article. Of frozen shrimp from a man who was going down a Red Line car offering to sell them. Police say the action started shortly before 9:25 on Wednesday
Was
night.
he wearing a mask, Grace, while he was trying to sell the frozen shrimp? Yes?
It does not say. It does not say. He probably was if he's a safe salesperson.
Shrimp is not a shellfish.
When a man
as far as I know.
When a man started offering passengers bags of frozen shrimp, now I know this is the part Howie's going to care about. What's the price? It always comes down to the price. $10 a bag. Do you think that's
how
fair?
big was the bag?
Well, that I do not know. One of the passengers from the victim
I mean, that's
believed,
the key question, Grace. How do I know if it was a good buy or not?
Oh, this is where it gets
How many grams of shrimp was he selling?
This is where it gets really interesting. One of the passengers whom the victim believed may be a potential customer, or thought he was going to be a potential customer, stated words to stated words to the effect of, "I'll take all of them," and then proceeded to close fist punch the victim in the face and attempted to relieve the victim of the frozen bags of shrimp.
You know,
This
some
is where
things
it
never,
gets
even though there's
crazy.
nobody on the red line, nothing's changed.
But Howie, the guy didn't get any of the shrimp and he started running away. And the shrimp guy, the shrimp seller, chased after him and then flagged down the police. I'm sure he wasn't licensed to be selling shrimp in the first place. You must need some sort of paperwork.
617 says the Dorchester guy should have brought the shrimp to a prawn shop to sell.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
A wet wipe proved a Concord bank robber's undoing. Veteran bank robber Angel Robles didn't have much time to live it up with the $383 he made off with from a bank.
Are career criminals now veterans?
He's a veteran. But he never succeeded. And in his big score, he made $383 in a bank. He's not very good at bank robbing, but go ahead, Grace.
Robles pleaded guilty to participation in 11 bank robberies. Some of them seem like they were the same thing. Like he even wrote the same note, which was just robbery in all caps. That's what he would pass the bank tellers.
But they got his fingerprints off a wet wipe.
Yeah, the wipe did him in.
I didn't know you could get a fingerprint off a wet wipe. I'm Howie Carr.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier.
Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can all see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet. Because if that.
Howie, I'm getting ripped on the text line for saying shrimp are not shellfish. They're not. They're crustaceans.
And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Congressman, Senator Harris.
He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say.
So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with Super Beats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too, and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of a neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists.
No organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad, and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute of President Eric Swalwell.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. Welcome to my fellow candidates, whom I consider we are all a part of being the Avengers. The Republicans in 2016, that was the Hunger Games.
And, you know, it's said often that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And we heard a lot of rhymes yesterday.
My wife, Brittany, also wants you to know we've got two beautiful children, Nelson and Cricket. But the decision to have children was her choice.
I'm the only candidate calling for a ban and buyback on every single assault weapon. Again, we have to have an ankle monitor on this president. This is the worst possible time for a serial offender like him to be running around unsupervised.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
We are focused on one account right now, but this is going to be much bigger than just one account, and it's going to go on for much longer than just this day, this week.
We no longer live in a world of nations and ideologies, Mr. Beale. The world is a college of corporations, inexorably determined by the immutable bylaws of business.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
We're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation.
We're trying to have media, big tech, control our lives. They want to cancel our speech. They want to cancel our culture, our history, our liberty. They want to control us, the few controlling the many, like a bunch of sheep.
I'm a sheep, a hairless sheep. Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Try what I'm about to tell you, not destroy your faith in People Magazine's annual top 50 bachelors list. I actually don't know if they do it now. I think they're still technically People Magazine, but who's seen a People Magazine lately? But in 2001, they had a lot of people from Massachusetts on the list. They had Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and they had a young lawyer by the name of Gary Zarola. Does that name ring a bell, Gary Zarola? I believe he was the lawyer that then or soon to be state trooper Leah Gendoso's boyfriend, the gangster drug dealer, told her to go to bring some money to, because Gary Zarola was going to represent him when he went up on federal charges and he went to prison, obviously. And Leah Gendoso joined the state police after admitting that she lied under oath and committed money laundering and income tax evasion and sold drugs on the side. But anyway, this guy, Gary Zarola, you've heard of him, right, Taylor?
No, I've not.
Come on.
2001? I was 10 years old.
Yeah, but he's been arrested since he was most eligible bachelor. He's been arrested at least 3 or 4 times for rape. He was arrested again. He's been arrested this afternoon in Boston. He was wanted on a straight warrant out of Boston Municipal Court on charges of rape and breaking and entering in the nighttime. They'd had a bolo out on him, and they've been looking for him. But he's faced rape charges at least 3 times, maybe more, at least 3 other times. 844-500-4242. By the way, Taylor, do you want to issue a mea culpa about your slur against the shrimp American community?
Listen, as far as I knew, shrimp were a crustacean, and that was it. But apparently, I always thought shellfish it has to have a literal shell around it, like an oyster.
What do you think shrimp doesn't have a shell?
A scallop. They have an exoskeleton.
That's a shell to me.
That's not.
If I bite into it, it's a shell. It's not an exoskeleton.
It's an exoskeleton. But it apparently is also a shellfish. So,
and you know what, Taylor? When I looked it up
on my hometown of New Bedford,
I was trying to protect you, so I looked up on Google: is a shrimp a shellfish? And it not only told me that a shrimp was a shellfish, it told me a crustacean is a shellfish too.
Yeah, and apparently octopus and squid are also shellfish. They literally don't have any shells of any kind, but that's what we're going with. Oh, listen to the science. This is where it gets us. Shell confusion.
Someone wants to know, do you think there are going to be more or fewer grim milestones after the inauguration? I think the texter knows the answer to that question. And another texter asks, when Joe Biden doesn't administer 100 million vaccines in the first 100 days, will that be his fault or Trump's fault? I think we know the answer to that one, too. 781 says, I think Zarola was my OUI lawyer, operating under the influence lawyer, laughing out loud. He probably was. He probably was. 844-500. Limerick guy says the bank robber in Concord had the wet wipe so he could launder his cash. I mean, you know, isn't that a new fact that you've learned today on the Howie Carr show, that you can leave a fingerprint on a wet wipe? I didn't know that. Everyone raise your hand who knew that. All right.
In other news, Howie, and I'm sure this will make your heart feel like an alligator, Boston police have arrested a juvenile in connection with the arson of a Boston police vehicle on May 31st, 2020 in downtown Boston.
They have.
Do you want me to read you the Facebook post?
Yes, because I heard it was an international traveler, whatever the hell that, I think I know what that means.
Attempting to board international flight in New York City. Earlier today, Boston police detectives assigned to the Suffolk County DA's office traveled to a juvenile detention center in New York to take custody of a juvenile male suspect who was wanted on an outstanding warrant stemming from the events which unfolded in downtown Boston on May 31st, 2020. At the time of his detention, the suspect was attempting to board a one-way international flight while authorities discovered the outstanding warrant.
Donde was he headed?
It does not say. Does not say. Outstanding warrant had been issued out of the Juvenile Division of Boston Municipal Court on charges of delinquent, to wit, arson of a motor vehicle and inciting a riot. He had been previously placed in custody on June 11th by members of BPD Fire Investigation Unit and Framingham Police Department and was later released.
Framingham?
Suspect is expected to be arraigned in Boston Juvenile Court.
No word, though, on his immigration status.
No.
I mean, what kind of juvenile detention center is he in New York City? If he's from Massachusetts. I mean, if he lives in Massachusetts. I think it's close to, we know that it's not going to, well, let me just leave it at that. All right. 844-500-4242. 781. It was probably not a wet wipe, but a wet wipe container, that plastic cylinder. The way I'm the one who sent Grace the story. The way I read it, it was a wet wipe. I don't know what he was doing with a wet wipe, but why would you go in to rob a bank? And again, this guy was not the best bank robber in the world, obviously. But why would you go into a bank with a one of those plastic containers? I don't think so. 844-500. Have we heard from the mother of the international juvenile traveler / arsonist?
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now, try not to let what I'm about to tell you next destroy your faith in the Lincoln Project. Those are the never-Trumper Republicans, who raised millions of dollars to try to defeat Republicans, and they didn't succeed in defeating anybody, in Congress anyway. The Lincoln Project appears to have scrubbed association with its co-founder, John Weaver, after allegations that Weaver sent unwanted, uncomfortable, and sexually suggestive messages to nearly a dozen young men. 2 days before he was summarily removed from the homepage, journalist Ryan Jerdusky said in a tweet that young men had sent him screenshots of predatory messages from Weaver, who used to work for the John McCain presidential campaign and then on former Ohio Governor John Kasich's presidential campaign. So he's an alleged perv, and he's a definite loser. That's not alleged. Grodowski wrote in the American Conservative Monday that a man whose identity he kept anonymous claimed he was in communication with several young men who Weaver solicited for a job and then allegedly propositioned them for sex as part of the offer. A college student claimed that, and this guy was on with Laura Ingraham last night on Fox, Grodowski. A college student told Grodowski that Weaver had called him after midnight. This is the guy who thinks Donald Trump is too immoral to be the leader of the nation. Called him after midnight, and on another occasion asked the student about his height, weight, and build. Did he ask him if he liked to watch gladiator movies? Making the student uncomfortable. When the student responded he was about average build, Weaver allegedly responded, quote, "Oh, my boy, I'm certain parts of you are well above average." So my boy was a common name that Weaver allegedly gave to more than 12 young men. A website called Forensic News reported. Reporter Scott Stedman showed messages Weaver, again, he's a former aide to John McCain and John Kasich, sent to him, also referring to him as my boy. This guy Weaver, the never Trumper, who's more moral and ethical than Donald Trump, sent the reporter unwanted personal messages calling him smart, clever, handsome, hot. You have it all. Forensic News reviewed messages from more than a dozen sources aged 19 to 26. 19 to 26. One man, identified as Josh P., told Forensic News that Weaver allegedly told him he could get him a job with Macron's people in France and offered to take him to the Rothschild wineries. So this is the head of the Never Trumpers, a very reputable group of anti-Trump Republicans. 619, is Mr. Weaver friends with Carlos Danger? Grace told me about this story. She said, "You'll love this story." How I do love it. I'm disgusted, but since it's Never Trumpers, you gotta revel in other people's embarrassment and humiliation, right? Sticking to your New Year's resolution is a matter of making one right decision at a time. If you're looking to institute some healthy habits and improve your lifestyle this year, you need to check out what all of us on the Howie Carr Show network are doing. And that's eating 2 Super Beet soft heart chews every day.
The supply here is dwindling very fast.
Well, it's dwindled to 0 here in the sunny South Florida. So it's gone. So you got more than we do. They're great, though. You just eat 2 a day. I don't even think I have one. I got 1 left. I'll get it out of the bag and then I will consume it. But I'll show it to you. It looks like it's wrapped in foil, like a piece of candy. It's quite delicious, but it's really good for you. It's good for your heart health. It's good for your circulation. It's good for your blood pressure.
We had a delicious spread here today, Howie, from Aviva Trattoria, and it was very carb heavy. And if you eat a little too much, it makes you a little sleepy. So we all took some Super Beets, and we are flying high.
That's good. So I take 1 in the morning when I want to fly high on my bike, and then I take 1 when I go before the show. This will be the last one I have till I order a new bag. But the good news is they got a special deal going. Just 2 Super Beets heart chews per day give you the cardiovascular support and promote the heart healthy energy you need to chase your goals. And they're delicious too, and they're convenient. Super Beets Heart Chews combines non-GMO beets and clinically researched grapeseed extract shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure than a healthy lifestyle alone. When it comes to implementing healthy habits this year, adding Super Beets Heart Chews to your daily routine is an easy decision to make. And now listen to this. This is the best deal you'll ever get from Super Beets. You can get a free 30-day supply of Super Beets Heart Chews plus a free 30-day supply of their new delicious flavor, Super Grapes, with your first purchase by going to superbeetsradio.com/Howie. That's 2 free gifts valued at over $50. Only available at superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's superbeatsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Fighting the fake news, one former Democrat stenographer with a press pass at a time. It's Howie Carr.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world. We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS, it would put 720 million women back in the workforce. I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? The bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
He's not here to make nice.
Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Was Zarola also charged with impersonating a Kennedy? It just seems that way. Today's poll question is brought to you by the Eden Pure Gen 30 heater. Look at it. It's beautiful, and it keeps you toasty warm all through the winter. And with the Biden administration coming in, they want to ban fracking. They're going to get rid of coal. The price of oil, all energy is going through the roof. You need a way to cut down on your heating bills. The Gen 30 heater is the answer to your question, your prayers. It could save you up to 50% on your heating bills, and it looks good, and you're in any room you put it in. Order today at EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal to get $25 off and free shipping. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Are you actively seeking a replacement for Amazon?
Yes, I am.
72% say yes.
It's going to take a while, but I I think I can pretty much wean myself fairly soon. All right. 844-500-4242. Are these sound cuts from the Goya CEO? Are these new sound cuts? Taylor, do you know?
Yes, they are.
Okay, you remember they wanted to cancel Goya because I forget why they wanted to cancel. I just remember going into Market Basket when I was back in Massachusetts at the time and buying more Goya. And when the story first broke, I had 2 cans of Goya beans in my cabinet, and I immediately held them up and tweeted them out. But Goya is the family that owns it is a big supporter of President Trump, and I guess the CEO was back at the White House for to say goodbye to Trump, at least at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, and this is what he said about big tech and media. Cut 10.
We're trying to have media, big tech control our lives, the government control our lives, and we need to not move away from God. We need to move closer to God. They want to cancel God. They want to cancel our speech. They want to cancel our culture, our history, our liberty. They want to control us, the few controlling the many, like a bunch of sheep.
Man, he's good. I'm going to buy some more Goya tomorrow at the Publix. Cut 11.
Unfortunately, to shut down this economy, the worst thing we can do is shut down our economy, kill our spirit. We need a reason to get up in the morning. God, family, work.
So true. So true. He's this has been such a blow to the country's spirit and to the economy and even to little kids, who haven't been able to go to school for a year almost, and now, I mean, how more cynical can the Democrats be in these states? Now that Trump is leaving office, they're going to reopen the economies. Not all of them. Again, like someone just texted me and said, "I wish I lived in in Michigan." She's Gretchen Whitmer is going to keep the state shut down until at least February 1st. Charlie Parker says he's going to keep the state of Massachusetts shut down at least till, or most of the state, 25% capacity till January 24th. So I guess this is how we're now separating the true believers. I mean, the people who are just in it to get Biden elected. And I thought it was going to end right after the election. But obviously they were worried about the recounts and the electoral judicial challenges. So they kept everything locked down. But now, how can all these states, whether it's Minnesota, New York, Virginia, Chicago, in Illinois, how could all these jurisdictions suddenly decide after, it seems like just 24, 48 hours ago, all of these media outlets in these places were full of stories about spiking and surging and record numbers of people testing positive. Now they're just saying, you know what? Testing positive really doesn't mean anything, as everybody who studied it for more than 10 minutes knew. But so now Joe Biden cured everything. We're all back at work now that Joe Biden's president. I'm Howie Carr.
Like most companies, we here at Matthews Brothers are pretty proud of our website. Not so proud that we go around asking total strangers to visit it or anything like that, but proud enough to ask you to. Now, you might think that's the dumbest thing I've heard all day. Why the heck would I want to visit MatthewsBrothers.com? Where's the fun in that? And we'd be like, you don't have to make it personal, dude. There's lots of fun stuff to do there. And you'd be like what? And we'd be like the visualizer. And you'd be like, what the heck's a visualizer? And then we'd tell you. The visualizer is this nifty little application that allows you to completely remodel the exterior of your house. Play with different colors and styles to design the virtual home of your dreams. You'll have hours of fun this winter creating such visual masterpieces as a spruce green window with barn red sash and gray 4.5-inch banded casing and historic sill nosing. Then, once the thrill of that is worn off, You can play with the roofing and siding. You can learn more about our wicked awesome Maine-made windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
You've been hearing me talk about super beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why super beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of super beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind super beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But super beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of super beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out super beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts,
I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, it goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
and by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman. Did you have tanning lotion on, A little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
Oh, no.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And I was just trying to see if they had put together put to death, Dustin John Higgs. He's the Maryland man who's about to be executed, maybe about to be executed for murdering 3 women in 1996, and they've got a petitions to spare his life. He tried to seduce one of the women. There was like a triple date going on, and according to the U.S. Department of Justice, one of the dead women, Tanji Jackson, who was 21 at the time, rebuffed in advance by Higgs, and the three women left. Higgs offered the women a ride back to Washington, D.C., where they lived, but instead drove to a secluded area in the Patuxent National Wildlife Refuge, ordered the women out of the vehicle, gave a gun to one of his friends, and said, "Better make sure they're dead." And this other guy shot the three of them. He's doing life now. But one of the petitions, which has 1.5 million signatures on it, 1.5 million signatures saying, "Don't kill this guy who killed three women." It says he's only an accomplice. An accomplice. He ordered the murders. He gave him the gun. He took him to where to be killed. I don't think he's an accomplice. And so the headline in the Baltimore Sun, which is, of course, a leftist rag, amid pandemic and Trump's final chaotic days, a Maryland man with COVID-19 fights his upcoming federal execution. Could any of the victims be reached for comment? Tamika Black, Tanji Jackson, and Michonne Chen. Could any of them be reached for comment? I guess they're not suffering from COVID-19. 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. I want to spend the last segment or two, or half of one and a half segments, whatever's left, talking about a contest this weekend, and I don't mean the NFL playoffs on Saturday and Sunday. I'm talking about Mass Millions and Powerball. Have you looked at the jackpots? Mass Millions is now at $750 million. Powerball is at $640 million. Now, I know Grace did this earlier, but I've often done it in the past, so I'm not stealing it from her. She was stealing it from me. I'm just going to ask you, what would you do with that kind of money? Do you have any plans? Would you have any plans? I wouldn't get your hopes up, because the odds are I'm winning, or the mailroom manager is winning, because she buys the tickets. She's luckier than me when it comes to this kind of stuff. So she's got a bunch of tickets. I don't know whether they're Mass Millions or Powerball. Probably both.
Can you buy Mass Millions in Florida?
Mega Millions, excuse me. Mega Millions. I'm sorry. I apologize.
You were getting Mass Cash confused with it.
Yes, Mega Millions and Mega Millions is at $750 million, and Powerball is at $640 million. So what would you do? Just call it. You could text me at text Howie to 63566, or you can call 844-500-4242. I always used to say I wouldn't retire. I don't say that anymore. I think, though, that I used to also say that I wouldn't tell anybody until I could escape. You know, I would set it up. I would just start making my plans, and I would hire some high-powered lawyer who could set it up so I wouldn't have to so I could vanish, basically. I'd like to just get lost. But now I think I'm down here in Florida. I could get lost pretty easily down here as a Florida man. And you know, the thing is, I wonder, would I ever go back to Massachusetts if I won, you know, after taxes, let's just say $300 million. Would you leave? How soon would you leave New England? I don't know. 844-500-4242. So I'm going to ask the question: what would you do if you won the one of these big jackpots that are on the table this weekend? 844-500-4242. What would you do, Taylor?
I would move the family to either someplace warm or someplace very rural, like Montana, like I talk about on our loop. I like the seclusion. I don't like being bothered. I don't have much use for $1 billion. I can think of some fun things to do, obviously, but I don't think any one person needs all that money. I'd probably give a lot of it away.
You would? Really?
Yeah.
That would be a good poll question. Do you believe Taylor would give away his money?
What am I going to do with $1 billion?
What is it? Who are you going to give it? What are the people you give it away? What are they going to do with it, Taylor?
Put it to better use than I could.
No one could put the money to better use than me.
What are you going to do? Buy an island and you're going to have to pay real estate taxes on that the rest of your life? You're going to spend most of
you know what? If I got $1 billion, let's just say 300 million. Let's just make it real basic stuff and probably lowballing it. If I had 300 million, do you think I'm worried about taxes? Real estate taxes? Real estate taxes?
Absolutely.
No, I'm not. I'm not. 844-500-4242. David.
Buy the Washington football team or something. Rename them the Redskins.
I don't think 300 million wouldn't be enough. I mean, I think just about every NFL team is worth over $1 billion. I don't think you could. But why would I want a football team? I mean, I don't even want a luxury box.
Maybe start your own football league with Trump again. See if that works out.
You know, Trump almost bought the Buffalo Bills. He was in the running when that team was sold way back when Ralph Wilson, the original owner, died, I think.
You can have the New Jersey Orange Men bad.
Yeah. That's gonna be the best game of the weekend, by the way, the Bills and the Ravens, I think. That's good. That should be really an interesting game. Quint, you're next with Howie Carr. What would you do with the 300 million?
I'd give it all to charity.
Oh, come on.
At the Mardi Gras.
You go to the Mardi Gras. All right, Quinn. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David. What would you do with the $300 million or $400 million, whatever it is?
Howie, I would do what everybody always says. You help family, give to charity and all that. We'd all do that. I have a question, though. What do you do with $300 million? You can't just go to your local bank and deposit it. What do you do? Any financial people out there have an answer?
I think you would have to, with $300 million on the table. Wouldn't you have to bring in several different financial planners to just, and it kind of like going out for bids on a addition to your house or something like that, right?
Well, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan up here in Vermont. There's lots of us, believe it or not, and I can't buy the Cowboys for that. I'd like to, but because they stink every year. But other than that, I would, just hire a financial advisor and personal assistant. I don't know what you do with that. You tell me. You're rich.
I'm not that rich. You know what? If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, David, I would suggest you go down and see one of those games. Those games are pretty damn impressive. I went last year. My daughter has tickets sometimes because she works for a guy that's got a lot of season tickets down there. That stadium is amazing. It's a lot of fun. You'd love it.
Put it this way, Howie's not too rich to not be buying Powerball tickets.
That's true. Come on, $300 million. Wow. 603 says if you flew over Massachusetts, they would tax your winnings. Listen, let me tell you something. I guarantee you when the millionaires tax passed, I would never set foot because I think he's right. If they found that you had paid a toll in Massachusetts, they would send you a tax bill. Think about that. Charlie Parker is taxing people who haven't been in the state since this panic started. They're working out of their houses in New Hampshire or Rhode Island or Maine or Vermont, New York, and Connecticut, and he's still charging them if they work for a Massachusetts company. It's ridiculous. 844-500-4242, 617. Mass lets a lawyer claim it. The winner stays anonymous. I don't think that's true. I thought it said on the back of the card, I looked it up one time, it said, part of the deal is you have to come forward and be identified. You can put
it into a trust and have a lawyer represent the trust.
Yeah. Yeah, I think somebody at one time said people were complaining they wanted to see who won it, and the treasurer was not telling anybody. 844-500-4242, 617. I would donate some to the Trump Defense Fund. I think he's got a lot of money in there. I don't think he really needs the money at this point. Session, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Session.
Hey, I would also like to become a part owner of a basketball or a football team. But can I say something on politics?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Remember, Facebook and Twitter banned Trump, right?
Yeah.
And the people, the loony left said, oh, they are private companies. They can do whatever they want. Remember that guy, the baker in Colorado? He refused to bake cake because of objection.
Right. He was a Christian. He was a Christian baker, and he didn't want to bake it for a gay wedding because he said he didn't believe in gay weddings.
Yeah, he was a private business too. How come they hauled him over the coals, right?
Session, how dare you ask a rational question? Do you think the courts are on the level? That's the whole problem. That was the whole problem with all those challenges to the election. The courts aren't on the levels. Thanks for the call, Session. 781. I would disconnect all my phones, throw away my computers, get a lawyer, and move the hell out of this crappy state. He's from Massachusetts, obviously. I wouldn't throw away my computers. My computers provide me with a lot of entertainment. I would get a second condo in my building so that I would have a place for the kids to come when they come for Christmas.
You just buy your own building.
I don't want the responsibility, Taylor. I like the fact that that I can go down. Someone else cleans the pool, and I don't have to worry about that. And
when you buy a building, you don't have to go out and clean the pool. You hire somebody to do that.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to hire. I don't want to have to hire someone. I've got $300 million. I don't want to talk to people and interview job applicants. I just want to go down to the pool and enjoy it.
Oh boy, you want to be rich, but you don't want anything that goes along with it except the money.
Yes, in a word, yes.
Ask Ernie Bach Jr. how much work it is to be a billionaire.
I want to have fun like he had on Wednesday night, just driving around, handing out piles of cash.
I'm sure he has a great deal of fun, but how many people are trying to talk to him every single day? A lot of work that goes into being rich.
No, I don't. It's only as much work as you want it to be, Taylor. And I would say not so much work for me. 844-500-4242. Someone says to win, you must agree to promotional advertising. That's the way I read the back of the last card that I bought in Massachusetts. But I don't know. Maybe you can go with the trust fund. Hit refresh on your dinner routine in 2021 with HelloFresh. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time New Year's sale and see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. Of course, if you win Mega Millions or Powerball, you could hire your own personal chef, but perhaps you're not going to win. Perhaps I'm going to win. And in that case, if you want to vary your menu a little bit and eat healthy and get a change of pace and just not have to worry about going to the grocery store, HelloFresh is the answer. HelloFresh gives you simple recipes and fresh ingredients, sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door, contact-free. With more than 23 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping. HelloFresh recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures. You can get meals on the table in as little as 20 minutes. Plus, by skipping the grocery store, you can save up to 40% on groceries. Cut food waste by 25%. Save time so you have more time to spend with your loved ones. You don't have to worry about a mask, and you don't have to worry about running into any Karens at the supermarket. It's so easy. Go with HelloFresh. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box during HelloFresh's New Year's sale. For a limited time only, go to HelloFresh.com and use code 10. Use code Howie10, Howie10 for 10 free meals. HelloFresh.com. I'm Howie Carr.
Follow Howie on Twitter at Howie Carr Show. You won't regret it.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac.
You say he lives on.
Not a lie. I know. I keep doing that.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States, the Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
Vouchers? We ain't got no vouchers. We don't need no vouchers. I don't have to show you any stinking vouchers.
Howie Carr is back.
If I win, when I win, I'll be back Monday to say goodbye to everybody. Just kidding. All right. 844-500-4242. Farmer John says he'd become a huge advertiser on the Howie Carr Show. Watch out, Bob Maines from Matthews Brothers. Officer Mark says if I win, I think you might think I bought a dairy farm because my face will be on all the milk cartons. 844-500-4242. Kevin, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hi, Howie. Long time, bunch of times, been a while.
Thank you.
I know if you won, you'd give 2 weeks notice, right? If you don't notice, I've been gone for the next 2 weeks. Better check your radio. If I won it, I would rent myself a private jet, much better than the flying squirrel, and I'd probably probably go to Tahiti for at least a month.
Yeah. The mailroom manager said she would buy a private jet, but I'm with you. What's the need to buy a private jet? Again, if you buy a private jet, then you have employees. What do you need that hassle for? Just rent a jet.
Exactly. Tell her to look into all the expenses of jets. They're very, very expensive. So.
Right. No, I agree. But it would be nice to fly private, not have to go through the airports. And now it's even more infuriating when you have the contact trace. They're like harpies. Have you come from a state that has infections? Charlie Parker. And you don't get the, hey, welcome to Massachusetts, home of the world champion Red Sox and Patriots. Not that they're world champions anymore, but it's all, Achtung! This is Charlie Parker. You must obey the regulations here in the Fourth Reich.
Your papers, please.
Who needs that? Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Hey, Howie, how are you?
Good.
I would take that money, Howie, and I would financially take care of every person who has just gotten fired from their jobs for attending the Trump rally, and any business that has been affected by these
lockdowns.
I don't know the right word.
Lockdowns. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if 300 million's enough for either of those worthy goals that you'd like to do, Bob, but it's a good start. Mike, you're next with Howie Carr. Quickly, Mike.
Yeah, I'd set up the Howie Carr Business Recovery Foundation. Do like the Clintons did, only actually do something good. Set up a foundation so you can't get taxed. I'll pay myself a nice salary. You can come on my rented jet. There's an old saying, if it floats or flies, rent it.
I don't know if I want to be on somebody else's private jet. A lot of people got into trouble taking a ride from Jeffrey Epstein, if you know what I mean. All right, have a good weekend, everybody. I'm Howie Carr.